Hey, what's going on? I'm Keith, host of Sports Vibes TV, and today I'm joined, as always, by my NBA analyst, Stephen Fox. Foxy, how's everything with you?
All is well. Salute to you. Salute to the chat. Salute to the SV Nation. We're going to be talking New York Knicks and great news. College basketball starts tomorrow.
Yep, college basketball starts tomorrow. Also, chat, let us know how the audio sounds. I know during last stream there were some issues, so we tried to correct them. I think everything's fine, but we just wanted you guys to confirm. Let us know in the chat. That way, if we have any issues, we can make any adjustments. So with that being said, thank you guys, ladies and gents, for being in the chat. We appreciate the support. We already see a few people in chat. We've got Angel Torres. Salute. Thank you for tuning in. Sherwin. Salute. Rich Boy. Splashing. 12676. Salute. He also says happy birthday, Foxy. Just wanted to say happy birthday once again. Appreciate you.
Thank you. That is so nice. Thank you all for the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. Shout out to the one and only, the real DSJ, Delano Steele Jr., Jermaine Royster, Kevin Nelson. Thank you so much for your kind words. We greatly appreciate it. One of the greatest mods in history, Lex the Destroyer, and Jesco. Really appreciate all the happy birthday wishes, man.
Yep. Salute. Thank you for for joining us on your birthday week, and I'm pretty sure you could have been out to turn it up, but you're here to chop it up with me and SV Nation, so we greatly appreciate it. Unfortunately, we're having this conversation following a loss. It would have been better if we would have been able to do this following that victory over the 76ers, but it is what it is. We're here to talk Knicks. A lot of things have transpired since the last time we were on a Sunday stream. What has it been? 4 games since we last had the conversation. It was what? Cavs, 76ers,
Celtics, and
was it the Bucks, or was the Bucks before?
The Bucks.
Yep. So 4 games. We went 1-3 in those games, and there are some reports now that the seat is kind of getting warm for Tom Thibodeau. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some other things as well. Mitchell Robinson being injured, some changes to the starting lineup, something that Knicks fans have been clamoring for a while now. So we got a lot of things to discuss. But before we dive into it, Foxy, anything you want to say? Get off your chest. Been a while since we last talked Knicks.
No, just go Jets. They beat the Buffalo Bills. Other than that, the season's unfolding a lot like you and I discussed, so there are really no surprises here.
Yeah, we thought that the team would be, for the most part, a middle of the pack squad, and most analytics and most stats pretty much say that we're right around either 15th to like 20th or 22nd in most statistical rankings. And some people thought this team would probably be a lot better. I think my estimations were 45, 46 wins, and I believe you said 39, Foxy?
38.
38? Okay, I was in the ballpark. Yeah, so it seems like if we continue towards this trend, we may end up a little bit closer to your total win prediction. So before we jump into it and get into the actual on-court play, there is some news we have to discuss. Unfortunately, one of our major pieces to the starting lineup has been injured. He injured his right knee, Mitchell Robinson, unfortunately, and the reports are he'll be out at least 1 week. So it says the New York Knicks will be without starting center Mitchell Robinson for at least 1 week due to a sprained right knee. Robinson was injured during New York's victory over the Philadelphia 76ers on Friday. Robinson will be reevaluated in 7 to 10 days. While Robinson is out, Isaiah Hartenstein, I think I got it right.
That was nice.
Right?
Woo!
With the German accent and all that.
Yeah.
Hartenstein will start as he did in Saturday's loss to the Boston Celtics. So, Foxy, I know you've had some concerns with Mitchell Robinson and his defensive rebounding. How do you take this news with him being out? Do you think the Knicks have enough depth at that center position to withstand Mitchell Robinson, a loss of Mitchell Robinson for a week or so?
I do. It concerns me. This is pretty much the second non-contact injury that he's had over the last several years. So my concern is in 7 to 10 days, they're going to first reevaluate it. So I don't know when he'll be back. So I hope he gets back quickly. And we'll do what we have to do with Hartenstein. Obviously, Hartenstein is not in the league of Mitch from a rim protector and shot blocker, etc. But he does a lot of other things that Mitch doesn't do, and on the rebounding side, he's a pretty good rebounder. So hopefully we'll see Jericho Sims, who you and I thought should have been getting 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there anyway. Get him in there, let him get his rhythm, and we'll see small ball where the matchups allow.
Yeah, I think we do have Jericho Sims, who will be a piece that we're going to be relying upon to step up. But with this new introduction of the small ball lineup, we may not see Jericho Sims get too many minutes. I was on the pregame show on Saturday with George, and I had mentioned something similar. We could see 10 to 15 minutes for Jericho Sims, or we could see less if Tom Thibodeau decides to rely upon that small ball lineup where we saw Obi and Julius Randle out there on the court together. And I think we should see some more of it, especially when you're partnering them with a guy like Cam that's going to up our perimeter defense, something that was sorely missed when we had Evan Fournier in that starting lineup. So we'll also talk about the Evan Fournier benching as well. But just to get into some of Mitchell Robinson's stats for the season, you can see Mitchell Robinson is averaging 6.5 points per game. He's averaging 6.4 rebounds per game, 1 assist to 0.6 turnovers per game. He's averaging 2.3 blocks, which is major for this team. Shows you that he's been a force in the paint, deterring players from trying to attack the basket. But he's only been playing 21.8 minutes per game, and that's a collection of things, foul trouble, and also the fact that we have a viable backup now in Hartenstein that can step up and take some minutes. And this is what we discussed in the offseason, the fact that we got iHeart on this squad. We may see him start to chip away at Mitchell Robinson's minutes. And we saw that earlier on when we saw iHeart closing out games, even when, Mitchell Robinson had a foul left to get on the court. So Mitchell Robinson, his field goal percentage has also dipped. I know earlier we saw him right around at 88, I think 87% from the field. And now it's down to 69.7, and the free throw percentage still abysmal. We were hoping that he would come in this season and kind of up that. He's only shooting 42.9% from the charity stripe. So Foxy, you can see the rebounds, even though he's still a beast on offensive rebounds, the total rebounds are a bit concerning.
It is, and he's playing 5 minutes, so he signs a $60 million contract. Where, first of all, you and I went on record and said that we thought that his contract should be totally in line with Robert Williams. What do? They pay him $12 million more than Robert Williams. And we had concerns about, hey, we wanted to see development. We've seen a couple of, one jump hook, jump shot, whatever it is, but it's an offensive shot of some sort that he's taken. But, last year he shot 48%. Now he's down to 42, 42% from the line. I'll round it off 43%. His pick and roll defense has been bad. He's been bad on the perimeter, and he's not alone. But it's concerning. It's that we paid that amount of money, and you see for $8 million, we agree that Hartenstein is not in the league of rim protecting everything, but he's playing 5 more minutes, and he's averaging more rebounds. He's doing all these things. He's spreading the floor, and I'm saying Hail Mary full of grace that maybe he'll do a little better on his 3-point shooting, Hartenstein. But hopefully Mitch gets back healthy, and that there's no surgery that's required.
Yeah, luckily it's no surgery. Anytime you see some non-contact knee injuries, you really do start to worry. And the fact that he's only going to be out a week, and we do have to stress they're going to reevaluate him in 7 to 10 days, so he could miss some more time. But luckily there's at least a timetable or some sort of guidelines to him returning, and it's just not TBD. So with Mitchell Robinson, you mentioned some things that he needed to work on. Also, the screens he's set so far this season. I thought he was starting to get a little bit better, but I think if you look at some of the screens he's setting, is leaving us in very sloppy pick and roll situations where teams are finding it a lot easier to either guard or get steals and, personal fouls or get charges and things of that nature because Mitch isn't setting the proper screen. So that's something that he's definitely going to have to work on when he gets healthy. Because, I'm a big fan of Mitchell Robinson. I think he is a center that's starting to push onto that top 10 center in the league range, but there are still things that need to be worked on. So hopefully when he comes back, we'll see a new and improved Mitchell Robinson that is going to be working on some of those things that we've discussed.
It upsets me greatly that he's in his 4th year and he has these stupid fouls. That you reach in like that, they're going to call it. You should have the IQ by now, basketball IQ, that you can't, we went through this as a rookie and we said, oh man, he's doing it. But how many games has he been, Ihart's getting the minutes because he gets in early foul trouble? And it's not cool, man. It's not, we wanted to see growth and that's taking a step back.
And it's funny because Ihart at times gets himself into foul trouble too with some ticky-tack fouls. So luckily we have the depth in the Jericho Sims, who will see more minutes from now, you would assume, with Mitchell Robinson being injured. But he's definitely going to have to work on that, get much better. And I think he'll be all right. We've seen him get better in certain areas over time. He just has to be a little bit more consistent now, especially now when you're making the big bucks. You got that big deal. It's going to be a lot more scrutiny towards you.
And he says he wants to work for that next deal. So, word, let's see it.
And he wants to be defensive.
But most of all, get healthy. Get healthy. We're putting out positive prayers for you.
Yep. He also says he wants to be defensive player of the year. You got to be on the court in order to do that, so.
Yeah, he's light years away from that, man.
Fool Foxy with some more ethers already. All right, so let's move forward to another big issue that happened this week, and it's the fact that they finally moved Evan Fournier to the bench. Now, we've been saying this before the season started. I think most pundits and most fans have said this since the season started. You bring in a guy like Brunson, and, they said in the offseason, reports were that some people in the Knicks brass and coaching staff were kind of concerned about a pairing of Evan Fournier and Jalen Brunson, but yet they still came into the season and tried to throw that pairing out there and thought it was going to, reap some positive results. Now, unfortunately, it has not. You looked at what we had last season with Kimber and Evan Fournier, and things were an issue out there on the perimeter defensively. And we're seeing some of those same issues this year with Brunson and Evan Fournier out there together. Now, luckily, Brunson is giving us a lot more offensively than we were getting from Kemba Walker. So for the most part, we've been in games and been competitive, but I think it just came to a head when this team started to go on a pretty big losing streak, a couple games losing streak, and they had to make some changes. There started to be some clamoring for Tom Thibodeau's job, and we saw Evan Fournier get moved to the bench. Now, Foxy, what were your thoughts on the move initially, and how did you feel about Quentin Grimes being the one that was tapped to start in his place?
It's just craziness. Hey, you and I and the SV Nation said from day one that put him on the second team and let him eat against... last year, do you have the on-court, off-court Evan Fournier?
Yeah, let me put that.
Folks, we were in the lab this week, and last year, what we thought prior to the season, when we put out our thoughts about the different lineups a number of streams ago, last year the Knicks were 6.7 points per 100 possessions better with Fournier off the court on the bench. So to make things worse, this year he's 21 points. The Knicks are 21.7 points better without Evan Fournier. It's crazy. So we can say we see a good defensive possession here or there, but there's just no way you can play the guy. It was a bad signing in the first place. And I agree with Tibbs. This team needs shooting, but you need shooting with somebody who can play defense, not one-dimensional shooting. There's no sense being a great shooter if you give up more points than you put in. So it's craziness. And then to go from there to Grimes. What are you putting in a guy, I got a question for you, Keith. This guy, because you're in the medical field, is they're going to have to shut him down for 6 weeks or something now? Don't you think?
I'm not sure because I really don't know what the concern is, I mean, I've seen some reports of trying to liken it to Rasheed Wallace when he was here as a Knick, and he had that stress fracture in his foot, and it was kind of, touch and go with his status. But I don't know what Quentin Grimes' injury is, to be honest with you, to really give you a concrete answer to that, because we've seen them, they mentioned it's soreness, and they said he had a setback. They brought him back, played him, 5 minutes against the Hawks in garbage time, and then they went ahead and then started him. And then in the following game, if they would have said, we're resting him because it's a back-to-back and we don't want him play in back-to-backs right now, it would have been fine. But they said they were holding him out because he had additional foot soreness the following game. So to me, that's extremely concerning. And I was just extremely confused as to why they decided to just throw him in there and start. When there were reports that they were going to make a change to the starting lineup, I thought they were talking about Emmanuel Quickley initially. Yeah. But then they went and threw Quentin Grimes out there right after they said he was going to be situational. So he was a situational starter at that point, which to me, I think was a bad way to use him, honestly.
Yeah, I'm an engineer by trade in my business career, and pounds per square inch. His foot is obviously, there's something wrong there. There's something majorly wrong, and feet are weird. We've talked about whether Mitch's foot injury last year. I've had a foot injury in my life, and you got to shut that down. I mentioned on the air, I was upset that he was even on the bench. That foot should be up. It should be in ice. I don't care what it is, but you shouldn't be walking around in it. So if him going in practice and then having a short burn the foot is just too sore for him to go, history has shown me that you shut that guy down for 4 to 6 weeks, because feet are not going to get better in a week. It's just not going to happen. So I don't know. We've never understood the freaking doctor for the Knicks. How the hell did you sign Kemba Walker? How the hell did you sign Nerlens Noel? And now, we've seen terrible, this guy should not be on the court, and so I hope he gets better, but I think he needs to be shut down, man. It's not going to get better in a week.
Yeah, the fact that he's continuing to feel soreness in that foot, they have to. I would like it if they gave us a little bit more information, at least let us know what he's working on, what he's dealing with. Because if
his front office, you kidding?
I mean, yeah, but you still have to mention that we should get a little bit of an idea of what he's dealing with. It could be plantar fasciitis. It could be, I don't know, burn spurs. We don't know what the issue is. But I mean, if you would at least put out a medical report that lets us know more than just it being a sore foot, at least we can understand what to expect from this guy. You're leaving it so ambiguous, but just him having a sore foot, you're forcing fans now to speculate, and you have us speculating about a guy that you said was untouchable in a trade for a Donovan Mitchell. So I think it's just going to increase the amount of pressure he's going to see when he does return, and it's going to up the expectations, especially now when you have him coming from an injury and you just threw him into the starting lineup. If he was available, I wanted him to play against the Atlanta Hawks, but I wasn't expecting them to just throw him to the Wolves in the following game and just have him start. That's going from 0 to 100. I think that's pretty extreme for somebody that's coming off of a foot injury.
Yeah, and his game is defense, and as you know, that's extreme hard cuts on your foot, man. You're planting and you're moving laterally. You're trying to stop the point of attack. That's brutal on a foot, and those hard cuts and stuff like that. So again, it's terrible medical and also bad front office. Hey, we're cool, like you said. If it's an ailment, let us know. But keeping us in the dark and then teasing us, oh, he's going to be back. Great. Oh, no, he's out. No, he's back. He's out. Get the hell out of here. We don't want to go. It's bad enough what we see on the court. We don't want any other drama.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to throw off the chemistry, too. We want a larger rotation, but to keep on throwing him into the rotation, pulling him out, it's kind of throwing off, I would think, the other guys either in the starting lineup or in that second unit.
Yeah, and folks, if having Grimes... If he is so key to our success, we have a shitty team.
Oh, Foxy, what you doing with the low blows now?
Just meaning he has not much of a record, meaning he has a very short sample size. So, like you said, we don't trade him for Donovan because we think he's going to be something. And did you know anybody a couple of months ago where we were going over that had a hot take that said, "Hey, Fox, anybody you think will disappoint us this season?" Do you remember what anybody said?
Who, Grimes?
Grimes. And I thought they're making him a lot better they're making him more than he is. You know, you wouldn't have been a 25th pick if he was the shit, man. So I hope he comes back healthy and everything, but come on, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Grimes can do. I think especially now that we're starting to employ different lineups, and I think that Tibbs is going a little bit more modern, a little bit more progressive in his lineup that he's throwing out there. But I do think the way that they've been using him is they've kind of been mismanaging him, I think, so far this season. If he's out, just sit him out, let us know. He'll be out for a month, if that's the case, 3 weeks. But to have him come in and out of the lineup, I think it's definitely going to send a bad message to the fans. Just want to give a quick shout out to everybody in chat. We see my guy George is in there. Salute. Ashley Inc. 1. She's in chat as well. Appreciate you for tuning in.
Ashley is the wonderful Wiz of the Knicks. That's Wiz, man. A wonderful guy. So, Wiz, hope all is well with you and your family.
Yep. Also, we have a super chat. Appreciate the generosity from Marshmallow. It says, Tibbs and the front office made our team middling. Clearly an upgrade. In some ways, this feels worse. We have all these picks with no hope to get someone bona fide while being a middling team. Yeah, we've been extremely mediocre, is one thing I can say for this entire season so far. How many games did we do? 9?
9. And folks, you know, I'm so excited. The college basketball season started, but really all the key teams get into it starting tomorrow. So I have all my notes. I'll be watching like crazy. And you know what? There's some shooting guards. If we have the season I think we may have, Cavante George out of Baylor, Nick Smith, there's a few people around at shooting guard, 3-level shooting guard, 3-level scorer shooting guard that, we'll see how this season goes. But if the season goes like I think, hey, man, if there's a shooting guard, we should take one because if Grimes gets healthy, we're fine, but he's not a 3-level scorer. Quickly, I don't know, his shooting's not there. If we can get a bona fide scorer, shooter, and stuff like that, let's go for it.
We got a shooting guard. His name is Cam Reddish. What are you talking about?
Cam Reddish is not a shooter. He's a great guy that gets, has had a snake to the hole and stuff like that. He had a great game the other day, but he's a 3. He's not a 2. In my book, at least.
He's a shooter this season so far. I mean, his shooting percentages have been solid.
Small sample, bro. History don't lie.
I hear you. Small sample.
Well, his shooting is great.
We'll get him a little bit more playtime so we can actually see if he can maintain those numbers.
Yeah, well, his shooting should be good because he gets to the hole. A lot of his shots are close. He takes threes, but he's wonderful in transition and he's wonderful as a cutter. I know I said the word cutter on this team. That's something we very seldom hear. But, I hope Cam, you and I, and we've said it on this show a number of weeks ago, put Cam, whether it was on Donovan or somebody before the game and stuff put Cam on those guys. And now somebody must be listening because they are putting Cam on the toughest defenders. So, hopefully the team, the thing from watching, you folks know that we don't watch a game, we watch it 100 freaking times, and it's not perimeter defense, it's defense across the board, man. It's pick and roll defense, it's really help defense, it's every form of defense known to man. How many, we're in shock, you, me, and the SV Nation, wow, that's an open shot. Wow, that's an open shot. Wow, that's an open. Where the hell is the defenders that you're allowing these open? That's the NBA, man. You give, I don't care who you give, a second string guy, you give him an open look like that, they're going to drain it, man. This is why it's an elite league. You can't do that, and we're doing it. So whether it's bad communication, they're not, their switches, whatever they're doing, it's bad. And this, for a guy that's supposed to be, Mr. Defense, Tibbs, they're playing terrible defense at every category.
Yeah, it has been a rough start defensively for the most part. I mean, we can hope that they'll turn it around. I think Tibbs has shown us enough during his coaching tenure that he can whip his teams into shape defensively. But, I mean, we have new personnel in that starting lineup, and hopefully he'll continue to stick with Cam. And when Grimes comes back, we'll see Grimes get times in the starting lineup if Cam isn't the answer. But the defense definitely has to be worked on, whether it's, like you said, them not being able to communicate, them closing out on three-point shooters, passing ball handlers off and making sure your rotations and switches are on point. They do have a lot to work on. And I think that's one of the reasons why you're starting to hear some clamoring for Tibbs' job, because like you mentioned, he is supposed to be this defensive guy. And although there are some weak links on this team defensively, for the most part, we're seeing issues throughout the entire lineup outside of a few players here and there.
Exactly.
All right, so let's see if we have anything going on in chat. Thank you all for tuning in. We've got still Knicks fans in chat. Says, what's good, Knicks family? Salute to the chat. Salute to Keith and Foxy. Appreciate you.
Hi, Ron.
Thank you. Let's see what else we got going on. Knicks Morning Brew says, what it do, fellas? Thank you. Appreciate you tuning in. Nick Yak says, the switching for no reason, leaving man open. How could every player need help every half-court possession? Facts, man. It's been difficult to watch. What did we give up? 101 points in the third and three quarters against the Celtics? Just abysmal. I mean, I know we scored 96 ourselves, but that's neither here nor there. We shouldn't be giving up that many points in three quarters, period. Too many games where we're giving up 30-plus quarters.
You have two super chats from Marshmallow.
Okay, I think I read the first one. Let's read this one. Thank you for the super chat, Marshmallow. We appreciate your generosity. It says, would you guys trade this year's playoffs for a good chance at Scoot? I would 100 out of 100.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Scoot is
bringing some talent.
Yeah. The word generational is thrown around a lot. They threw it around with Cade Cunningham. I didn't think it was right. Scoot's the deal, man. At 17, he's magnificent. He's like a young D Rose. His athleticism, he has a mean mid-range game. He's not much from three now, but he'll grow into that. But he'll make, if we can get Scoot, the world changes for the New York Knicks.
Definitely.
Any team that gets him, it changes.
Yeah, meanwhile, we're here going to be a middle-of-the-road team drafting 13, 14, or 15.
But you nailed it. That's what I was going to mention that before. Thank you. That's the worst thing that you can do. You're much better off being really bad for a couple of years and having several top 5 picks than we went over the math. You just don't. You get good role players, but your chance of getting a star where we pick historically in the 10, 11, 15 range, it's very difficult. Like I said, only 22 players in history have ever made an all-star team picked in the second round, and the chances are like 92% where we pick that they'll never make an all-star team. So it pays to suck for a couple of years, honest. And this is a year, boy. But I will say this. I have been working my butt off. Last year's draft is better than this year's draft. This draft has been overhyped. You have Wembanyama at 1, and you have Scoot at 2, and rightly so. They're dynamite. But after that, last year's draft is a better draft than this year's draft.
I hear you on that, Foxy. Thank you for sharing that with us. Let's talk a little bit more about Fournier and how he's going to be responding to this benching. We see here, it says Fournier was initially replaced in the New York Knicks starting lineup by Quentin Grimes two games ago. With Grimes out on Saturday due to injury, Fournier stayed on the bench with Cam Reddish drawing the start. And this is what Evan Fournier had to say. He says, it is what it is. I'm in year 11, so I know a lot of things can happen, Fournier said after the initial benching. We see it every year, so I'm going to do the best with what I have, try to impact winning and be a good teammate and just be a pro. So he's saying the right things. We just still haven't seen any of the any increase in performance during those 2 games he's been benched. We've still seen the poor defense, and the three-point shot hasn't really been dropping. He did have a solid three-point look. That was a tough look at the end of, what was it, the third?
that like lean in, like what the hell are you doing? And it went in.
He's a great tough shot shooter, but it's like, man, we need that with more consistency, and then we also need better. I won't say effort because he does try, but he needs to be better defensively. I don't understand how he can be so quick with his feet when he's trying to break down defenders, but when it comes to guarding defenders, it's like he's stuck in molasses. I don't understand.
This is who he is. He's not going to get better on defense. He'll have some good defensive possessions. But like I said, 6.7 points last year, 21.9. If a team is over 20 points better with you on the bench, what the hell else do you need to look at, man? It's, one thing is like, all right, let's try to trade him. And what are you going to play him until he, when the season is, keep playing him. Maybe we will get screwed.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know if it'll be that bad. I think we still have enough talent where we'll be middle of the road.
Oh no, that's the problem. We have too much talent for us to be terrible. We're just going to be, like I said, 38 wins or so, or a 500 team. And in this league, that's a terrible curse.
Thanks. We have another super chat from Marshmallow. Thank you. He says, i.e. Tibbs and the front office need to go now or change now. I'm with it. I'm not too thrilled with what Tibbs has been doing, and I'm not exactly thrilled with what the front office is doing. They kind of threw in the towel on last year's draft. They gave Evan Fournier solid money and have him as a piece of this team that really has no role, because I think even if you put him to the second unit once Quentin Grimes is healthy, I'd rather have Quentin Grimes getting those minutes as opposed to an Evan Fournier. And with what we've seen from Fournier, we really can't move him and get anything of value. You see the front office also, they gave big money to Julius Randle. And even though the first few games we thought Julius Randle was kind of turning that corner, but now we're starting to see him regress to the Julius Randle of old. So I'd be perfectly fine with the front office being changed and the coaching staff being changed. In fact, I think if we move on from the coach, then that means we're probably going to move on from the front office, because I don't see James Dolan giving the front office another year or two to bring in a new coach and give them the opportunity to see how everything works out. So, Foxy, what are some of your thoughts on that?
Well, we went over the stats of how bad Fournier is. We went over the eye tests, you, me, and the SV Nations. Like, we don't need the stats. We just look. And then you have Tibbs put Fournier on Donovan Mitchell. Are you freaking crazy?
He's not.
So, it's like, I guarantee you, me and the SV Nation, we saw that, like, yo, man, I got to get some of that shit he's smoking, because he has to be fucking high to be doing that. I don't know what the hell he's doing. Some of the, he's just making really crazy, he's doing crazy things, man. So there's no room for it anymore. The tolerance is gone. And like we said, we'll get to Julius in a while, but yeah, bad Julius is coming back, like freaking Michael Myers. So, It's so depressing. It's so depressing. And most of all, it's depressing. I feel badly for Jalen Brunson. He's a pro's pro. I really like him. And the things that are going on are preventing him. We talked about potential saboteurs not allowing Jalen to really do what he does best, and we're seeing it before our eyes, man.
Yeah. Just to look at what Evan Fournier has been doing statistically this season, he's averaging 8.8 points per game, 2.4 rebounds per game, pretty much a 1-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio in 21.8 minutes per game. And we're starting to see with him coming off the bench, he's getting around 14, 15 minutes per game. So we'll see that start to drop. He's shooting only 40% from the field, and he's shooting 38.6% from the three-point line. So he's hitting his threes, but everything outside of that, we're really getting virtually nothing. And he shoots 85.7% from the charity stripe. Go ahead, Foxy.
And we owe him $38 million over the next 2 years. Yeah. So so getting back to your thing about the front office, how do you get a guy like that? And we brought up, hey, he's 30 years old. What the hell are you doing playing Eurobasket? You don't have 21-year-old legs. You said that on stream like 3-4 weeks ago, and he looks lethargic out there. Like he doesn't have the legs. His shots hitting the front of the rim. We see flashes of him passing to Mitch. But as you see, it's only 1.6 assists, and it's almost a 1-to-1 ratio on assists to turnover. And when he does make a mistake, one of the things that really is a trigger for me is when somebody makes a mistake and they smile. I have no idea why people smile. I'd rather you cry because I wanted it to hurt because you just did something bad to hurt the team. If you smile, what the hell are you smiling for, man?
I want it to hurt. I want to feel pain. I want to see you feel pain.
Hey, it's one of my big issues with Obi. We play a shitty game, and he's laughing with the guys after the court. I want a guy on my team that walks off the court, is upset. If losing doesn't bother you, I don't want you on my roster. I really don't. I want, you show me a good loser, and I'll show you a loser. Bill Belichick said that, and I couldn't agree anymore.
Yeah, man. Second place just means you were the first one to lose.
Word.
All right, let's see what else we have going on in chat. We've got 150 in chat, but we only got 40 likes. Come on, y'all. Do us a solid. Smash that like button. Helps grow the channel. Helps get more people access or reach to the channel. So make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed also. That way you're notified whenever we do go live. We go live every Sunday at 6:15. And, make sure you're here so that way you can join the discussion. We always say SB Nation, you guys are the third co-host of these live streams. So make sure you're subscribed and tuned in so you never miss a show. All right, let's get Evan Fournier off the screen. I'm done looking.
Please, as quick as possible. Or as I call him, Pepe Le Pew.
Le Pew.
Exactly. Le Pew like stinks.
All right. So let's look more so at the starting lineup now without Evan Fournier in it. So this was one of the iterations we could see once we see Mitchell Robinson back healthy. And you can see we've got Jalen Brunson starting at the point guard position. And Foxy, I know you prefer Cam as a 3, but they're being hard-headed and he's still listed as a shooting guard.
Absolutely. It drives me crazy. But yeah, so list him as a shooting guard as long as he covers Tatum. List him as a shooting guard as long as he covers the big guy and let RJ.
Still had RJ guarded Tatum though. We still ended up having RJ guarded Tatum when they were on the court together.
Yeah, but that's a weird team. So the good news is, RJ's the bad news. You're covering Jalen Brown, so you're gonna get lit either way.
Yeah, definitely double-edged sword there, man. You put your best defender on Tatum, and Brown will be able to eat, and then vice versa. You put your best defender on Brown, and then Tatum will be able to go off and have an easier night. At the end of the day, you got to make sure that you have the teammates and you have your team set up to play proper defense, because individually it's going to be a tough night for whoever's guarding them. And you saw we really didn't have any answers as a squad.
Hey, when I have a thing when I have all these things that I took courses and stuff like that for, for coaching courses for the draft and stuff. And I have a thing, what would you jury do? And when you look at this lineup, they're slow. They're slow-footed. And when you look at perimeter defense and stuff, you look at teams, that they put athletic guys, long athletic guys as much as possible on that team and stuff. RJ slow, Randle slow, Brunson slow. We don't have that. So Hartenstein, he's slow. So you have Cam, who's the athlete out of this bunch. No wonder our defense stinks. It's bad roster construction. You can't have slow people in today's NBA.
I mean, we saw them pick up the tempo a little bit with that small ball lineup with Obi out there, Randle out there, Cam, RJ, and Brunson. They were kind of pushing the pace. And I think when we did push the pace, we got some good looks. So that does preach to, or give some credence to you saying we don't have enough athletes. Because if you look at the second unit is definitely more athletic. And we see them push the ball up and down the court. And we get a lot of good looks in transition. It's in our half-court offense where we start to see things, kind of stall.
And defense.
True. D977 says, why was Cam on Smart? Yeah, it made no sense to me. He should have been guarding either Tatum or Brown. Foxy, you?
A lot of times I think it's just a bad switch that we were talking about earlier. Like, why are you switching on to him? You should be covering the big guy over there or something like that. So many of the things that you're seeing, like, they don't know what they're doing. So great teams are prepared differently. And I thought this was a coach that was all about preparation. So they seem ill prepared. And we've talked about his bad mid-game or unable to make mid-game adjustments against other coaches and stuff. So, yeah, a shout out for that, catching that. It's like, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, one situation where they had a poor rotation, poor switching was towards the end. I believe it was the second quarter where Jalen Brown was able to get 3 pretty much wide open looks from the 3-point line. He nailed the first 2. Luckily for us, he missed the third one. And in that series, they were running some pick and rolls with Brown, getting Julius Randle involved, and every play they were able to get at least a good shot or a good look for Jalen Brown. And it just shows you that this team still has some issues out there communicating and making the right decisions and when to stick with your man and when to call the switch. So as with Tibbs as a defensive coach, he's going to have to iron those out. And I think, yes, this is a new season, but for the most part, we have a lot of the same guys here. So there shouldn't be as much confusion or dysfunction defensively.
Yeah, I see Willie Cruz. Brunson isn't slow. He's just too small. Willie, hope all is well with you and your family. Got to disagree with you, bro. He's not slow. He has unbelievable footwork on offense, and we talk about that all the time. But if you haven't seen people just at the point of attack blow past Brunson this year, from T.J. McConnell onward, man, he's a turnstile. They're just blowing right past him. So he's been, like I said, a revelation on incredible on offense and being 50-40, etc. But he's invisible on defense, man. They're just blowing past him.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But, I mean, at least he's given us something offensively. At least last year
Oh, fantastic.
You look at Kemba, we got nothing from Kemba. At least now we're more of a fighting chance, even though there are some issues. And you can live with Brunson being an issue defensively as long as you have everybody playing together. But it's when you have Brunson being an issue and he's also out there with that starting lineup with Fournier, then that's when the problem kind of gets compounded. And then, now with the switch and having Cam in the starting lineup, you have a guy that's much quicker, he's athletic, and he does a pretty good job covering other players' mistakes, whether he has to close out because somebody's not there. You're seeing that level of hustle from Cam, and that's something I really didn't see from Cam earlier on in the season. But now maybe he's starting to actually realize, to see his career mortality, and he's really starting to kick it up again. We still need to get him to be a little bit more involved offensively, which, I can't guarantee we'll see that with a head coach like Tibbs, but at least defensively, he's definitely kicking it into gear.
He's kicking into gear, but he's still missing a hell of a lot of assignments on rotations. And I think a lot of that's rust, not really knowing the players and chemistry, and hopefully that'll come along. But they're making so many mistakes. Like we said earlier, open shot, open shot, open shot, open shot. What are you doing? Come on, guys. And also their closeout, one fake, they fly through the air, and now they just, what are you leaving? Clyde was talking about, what the hell are these guys leaving their feet so much?
Yep. Facts. Let's see what we have going on in chat. Willie Cruz says it's called too small ball. Marvin Smith says high school basketball coach can out-coach Tibbs. Yeah, Tibbs is repeatedly out-coached, and I think if that's not enough evidence to say that at least a question should be posed, do we need a change at the head coaching position? I think, we've seen it time and time again. He's been out-coached by guys like Nate McMillan. He was out-coached by the Celtics head coach. So definitely we do need to bring up the discussion as to whether or not coach should continue being the head coach. I'm calling him coach now like he's my coach.
Yeah, but he has a 25-36 career playoff record, and that's where making adjustments where the great coaches make the adjustments. He's been, he's 4-1. He's lost 4-1, 4-1. So 2-8 in his last 2 series. He's incapable, he hasn't shown. He's a great assistant coach. He's a 2-time coach of the year, no doubt. But playoffs is different than the regular season, man. And he's never been a winner in the playoffs, ever.
Yeah, big difference. Let's see what else we have going on in chat. Marvin Smith says, would you trade IQ, his shot selection and decision-making, put on muscle and still can't drive to the basket? Yeah, I'd be open to trading IQ. I was open to trade IQ if he was included in the Spider deal. So in the right deal, Emmanuel Quickley can be had. There's not too many untouchables on this roster. You know,
It shouldn't be.
I was saying RJ was a untouchable, but the way he started, I'm like, oh man, I might have to reevaluate that. But for the most part, there are no real untouchables on the squad.
No, and we saw the rumor mill a number of years ago is actually the Knicks wanted Maxey, and Philly took him, and then we took Quickley. And when you see Maxey, the difference in speed on Maxey to Quickley, you look a lot and wow, their game looks similar. Not on that first step. You see Quickley, he can't. He has a couple of moves, but he loses his confidence. I don't know what, but he can't get to the hole. He has these weird shots, and losing patience with him. He came into this league, and all that Tibbs talked about was him being a sniper. He's been the furthest thing from a sniper, man. 39% from field goal to 2 years, maybe. Yeah, he's a sniper from the from the free throw line, but not even that this year.
Yeah, it's been a struggle for Quick. I didn't even know his shooting percentages.
But I think you found the answer though before. He put on muscle. People. When you watch fighters, Keith and I are really into mixed martial arts and stuff. When you see guys that are shredded and like that, they lose flexibility, man. They're all tight, man, and it's great for flexing and shit, but he was a lot leaner and flexible. You look at Bones Highland, who went off yesterday. That was the body. That's his body like. So now he's all strong. Yeah, you could hold but I think it impacts his shooting. It's impacted him greatly now. So he's all strong and stuff, but now he's not as flexible and smooth.
I mean, it could play a part. I was hoping that him adding the additional weight would help him, absorb contact a little bit better and finish. But we're just not seeing it. And I was starting to hurt his outside shot even more, because at least he was knocking down his threes. And at moments, we've seen him knock down key threes in order to help spark the bench or the starters. But for the most part, it's been tough watching him out there offensively. And now he's starting to make some bad decisions. We saw, I think, 2 or 3 bad decisions in the game against the Celtics. One where he kind of threw the ball away. I'm not sure who he was trying to get the ball to. I think he was on the court with Obi and Cam, if I'm not mistaken. And he kind of threw it in between them in no man's land where neither one of them could get the ball. So he's definitely going to have to tidy that up a little bit. But I still got faith in Emmanuel Quickley. I think he can turn it around. He's just, I don't know if the trade talks are still playing some sort of, are still something in the back of his mind that might be hindering him and things like that. But I really don't see why he's been unable to finish, especially adding on the extra weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think, like you said, after this year, you assess floor and ceiling. He's gotten minutes. He's been a pet of Tibbs, a green light for him to do things other guys can't do, and he's still not. So he'll have a game like, oh my God, did you see him? Hey, he had 16 rebounds the other day. You know what? That's fantastic, but that's not why he's there. If I see 16 rebounds, that means to me somebody else is not doing their job. A 6'3" guy shouldn't be getting 16 rebounds.
Yeah, you love the fact that he's able to bang down there and get the boards, but for the most part,
what the hell are you doing banging down there?
Well,
getting the boards.
Leaking out. That's for sure.
Word.
That's for sure.
Well, I think he averages more rebounds than Obi.
I wouldn't be shocked. I think Obi only averages like 3. He doesn't average a month, and I think Quick averages. I know Archie averages around 6, but I can't remember what Quick's averages are on the top.
3.7. So he averages almost 5.6 rebounds, Quick, and he averages 3.7. Yikes!
Yeah.
With a capital Y.
Yeah. But all right, Foxy. Let's talk about the starters just a little bit more, and this is Cam Reddish, what he's been doing so far this season. He's averaging 7.8 points per game, 2 rebounds per game, and pretty much a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. he's averaging 20 minutes per game, which kind of shocked me. I didn't think he was averaging that many minutes on the
Me too, man. I'm glad, let's give him burn to see what he's got. Especially we've talked about the other guys, and we hate to be negative, folks. We're only 9 games in. We don't want to be negative like this, but we got to keep it real, man. Assessing, they've been around enough. So let Cam get the rhythm, working with players, let him get over 20 minutes a game, and let him rip, man.
Yeah, so also he's been pretty efficient. 48.2 from the field, 40.9 from the three-point line, and 7.8 from the charity stripe. I feel like the free throw numbers are a little bit lower than the norm, but I mean, compared to some of the other players on the team, you can't complain. So Foxy.
Well, the whole thing with him and the other players on the team, they're not getting to the line this year.
Yeah.
RJ, one of the biggest things with RJ, he's only getting to the line 4 times this year. That's two times less than last year. And last year, I thought he should have got more to the line. So nobody's getting to the line.
And they would mention that too on the broadcast when we were going up against the Celtics. They should have been trying to attack the paint a little bit more, but they kept trying to outshoot the Celtics, which are a pretty solid 3-point shooting team.
Well, how do you outshoot the Celtics when we're talking SV Nation, and we said this is a recipe for losing. The Knicks, they went 51% from the field goal percentage, 40%, I'll round it off, 41%, and 94% from the foul line. Usually you win if you have those stats, but you know how you don't win? We took 27, we were 11 for 27 from 3. We took as many threes as the Celtics made. The Celtics made 27 threes, 27 out of 51. That's today's NBA. So how are you supposed to compete if the ratio of 2s to 3s are not right? So we're banging it with RJ getting to the hole. That's basically he takes a few threes, but everything else is going to the hole. Randle. So we're doing good, and we look at our points in the paint every game. You're like, yo, look at us at points in the paint. It's not today's NBA, though. Everybody else is shooting from the outside. And so we take 27 and they made 27. Damn right we're going to lose.
And they took, of those that they made, I would say 50% of them were wide open.
How much?
50, if not more.
That's what I like, that second part, or more. That guy Hauser, man.
Yeah, another unknown. The curse of the unknowns. The last 2-3 seasons, it seems like we just get killed by guys you really wouldn't have on your radar normally.
I watched him in college because he played with somebody I really liked, Andrew Wiggins, out of Maryland. So I watched him. So I knew he was a good 3-point shooter in college. So, but like I said, you can't leave anybody in this league, open like that, man.
Facts. So let's see who else we have in the starting lineup. Julius Randle. So far, Julius Randle, how do you feel about him, Foxy? He's averaging 18.9 points per game. He's rebounding 9 rebounds per game, averaging about another, for the most part, 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. He's averaging 3.3 assists and 2.9 turnovers in about 33.9 minutes a game, which to me, I think is egregious. Having him playing 33.9 minutes per game when he's averaging a 1-to-1 turnover ratio and has not been shooting good. I mean, look at his field goal percentage, 44.4%. 3.7 is 24.4%, and he's shooting 73.7% from the charity stripe. So me, one thing that really sticks out is the fact that he's averaging the 33.9 minutes per game with those kind of efficiency numbers. I feel like Obi has been starting to do what has been asked of him, which is to knock down his shot, and he's still having difficulty trying to, pull some minutes or wrestle some minutes from Julius Randle. In fact, he still hasn't been able to wrestle minutes from Julius Randle. Tibbs is now forced to use small ball in order to get him some play time. So, Foxy, how have you felt about Julius Randle so far this season?
Hey, start off positive. He made those 4 foul shots in the crunch time, so got to give him, props for that. Hey, I had the slate clean, that he was going to start, and I wanted to see what he was going to do, and he started off strong. But you said it earlier in the stream that, bad Julius is coming back. And, like I said earlier, folks, I've taken, for scouting, especially for college, the players and draft and stuff, courses, hoopcoach.org, Point Guard College, PGC, they for coaches and things like that, they offer courses. And one of the courses I took a lot of courses on was body language. And, they have for coaches checkoff lists for body language, pouting, disappointment in self or a teammate, anger or frustration on officials' calls, aloofness, unenergetic, lack of confidence. Any of those things sound familiar? So I've been watching him closely, and I said to Geraldine, my girl Geraldine MacGyver, and I think I was in the chat for the love of the game with Hardwill and Worldwide L. If you haven't subscribed to my friends, please subscribe. They're awesome. And I said to her, how long before the Julius Randle time bomb goes off? And his body language, hey, it started this week where he took that foul shot, that technical foul. You have Brunson and everything. He just walked up to the line, so nobody's going to create any drama and say, hey, Randle, get the hell out of the way, let Brunson take the shot. He's killing Brunson. We're not seeing the best of Brunson. I had to replay it a couple of times. He literally destroyed Brunson's spacing in a number of games already. He's literally running up to Brunson like, give me the ball. He's like running right into his path. Instead of him continuing his rotation and stuff, he's standing at the top of the key or running right there. And you're like, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? And it's like, so Brunson, like I said, I feel so bad for him. He's an A+ on my list, Brunson. But Randle, you have to allow Brunson to do what Brunson does. And I'm seeing all the bad signs. You see him with the refs and all the other stuff. The other day he just walked right off the court with a thing. So he's gonna lose it soon. And hey, the slate was clean, but now the slate's full of the same shit it was full of last year. This is Randle. I don't know what we can get for him, but like you said, it's crazy. We have to give Obi, or show some balls, Tibbs in front office, and say we're giving 25 minutes or so to Obi, and Randle, when you come in, we'll put you in there. But you can't allow him to run, and he's taking these 3-point shots, and you're like saying, what we did a stream how long ago, Keith, where we said one of the key parts of this season is catch and shoot, because of Brunson breaking down and kicking out, and Randle's not a catch and shoot guy. And we said that the second team All NBA season was an outlier. If you look at all his other years, statistically, we were really concerned about Randle shooting for three, and in this league, and it makes sense why Fournier was playing, because Tibbs is a coach. He is brilliant. He knows this game. And he's like saying, RJ is a drive to the basket. He's an inconsistent shooter. He'll get hot. He doesn't get hot. That's not what we need. You go through the list and you're like, God. So Randle's 3-point shooting, some of the shots he's taking, it takes him so long to get a shot off. He gets the ball and then he has to go through this whole gyration, or RJ too, but he has to get the ball and start, and the clock is going, and it's like, what are you doing, man? You're he's bringing the ball up sometimes. You're like, I thought that was going to end. I thought Brunson, you were going to give the ball to Brunson and you were going to run to your spot. So we're seeing all the signs of bad Julius coming back.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, because I think if we have the Julius Randle we saw in the first couple of games where he was letting the game come to him, he wasn't trying to do too much and force the issue, I think this team could be a lot more dangerous than its current the way it's set up currently. I think, we probably still would be a middle of the road type team with Julius Randle firing on all cylinders, but at least we'd be able to be one of those teams that can probably, make some noise, whether it be in the play-in or, the first round of the playoffs, and try to help us build, that winning culture, something that we were trying to build the first year, where we saw Julius Randle go crazy and become all NBA. But to see him start to, regress a little bit and become that that Julius Randle, where it's almost like he's a head case almost, where he's doing things to draw fouls or get fouls called against him. He's throwing elbows, being a little too physical, and things like that. But hopefully, I think you look at the relationship with Tibbs. We're gonna need Tibbs to kind of reel him in if he's starting to get a little crazy. And the question is Tibbs in the position to do that, where it seems like Tibbs, his job may be on the line? Do you think a guy like Julius Randle at this point is going to listen to him if he feels like he's probably going to outlive the coach here in a New York Knicks uniform?
Yeah, I don't know. You're right, but he'd listen if he was on the bench. I don't know if he'd listen. I think this is who he is. His sister down from where he is historically. Hey, you know what? I look to coaches. I look at the other teams to teach me about our team. They're just saying, you know what? We're just going to do a zone on this team, man. They're not going to beat us shoot from the outside, so we'll pack it.
On every screen, too. Look at that guarding RJ.
Yeah, we'll pack it. Going under this. Hey, we heard John Moran say it on the live mic. Yo, go under, left. So saying, don't worry about getting over the screen on RJ, man. Just go under. He's not going to hit the shot. He only goes left anyway. So they're telling us the recipe, what's wrong with our team when you say that. And it bothers me because that's killing Jalen, man. Jalen, when you watch his game, he needs space for him to be the best he can be. So when you see Jalen like, yo, I thought he was going to be a touch better and stuff, this team's killing this poor guy. He's not getting the space for him to do what he's really good at doing. So the coaches are great, man, in this league. The film doesn't lie. They put their strategies and game plans together, and they're like, Knicks can't shoot. They're gonna shoot themselves at every game. And look at the third and fourth quarter, man. We thought that was the Achilles heel last year. We got to make that change. As a coach, what the hell has happened in our third and fourth quarter?
Well, we do have Jalen Brunson, at least. That's one thing we can say. When we need a bucket, Brunson's there.
He's wonderful, but he's there, but you're still putting him in a situation, and with the other guys too, like I said, where you're like, good Brunson, and then all of a sudden you're like saying, what the hell is Randle doing there? You shouldn't be in that position right there. You made a bad rotation. You're breaking the rotation, and you're going to kill Jalen on this play, man. So it's like, but you don't have a coach that, like you said, that sees that, like we're seeing it. You, me, and the SB Nation's like yank his ass out and put Obi in.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry. But Tibbs.
I could deal with Obi's mistakes better than I can with Randle's, because you and I will see an effort, or how many plays you'll see him think he got fouled and the play goes on and you're watching and you're saying 1,000, 1,000, and you're like saying he's not in the frame yet. Mm-hmm. He hasn't gotten into the frame yet on the other side of the court. He's not up the court yet. And you're like, yo, this is deja vu all over, man.
Yeah. Foxy. What are we gonna do with the Julius Randle problem? Because I don't think teams are gonna be willing to trade for him.
If they are, they're going to be trading their version of Julius Randle for our version of Julius Randle. Somebody's going to have to do something bad, or a Russell Westbrook who's now balling, on the second team or whatever. But we're stuck with him.
Yeah. So let's talk about Jalen. Oh, it's out here moving from me. What's going on? Ain't nobody tell you to change slides. Let's go back. All right. Let's talk about. Oh. The computers are taking over. It's like Skynet hacked in. What's going on?
Yo, do me a favor if you're hacking. Could you hack us a new player or two?
Right, change the roster up.
Change the roster up or something. Get us Ben Mathurin again, or get us Shaden Sharp.
Yeah, we can't go that far. All I need is for us to get rid of Julius Randle. We do that, I'm fine with everything else. We can figure the rest out. We're not too far.
Hey, but to keep it positive, folks, I know it's been negative, but Jalen Brunson is a positive. I love this guy, man. He's a professional. His 3-point shooting is off. it'll come back. He'll be around league average this year, but he'll be 50. He'll definitely be around 35, 37%. His foul shooting will come up, but I definitely think the other elements are impacting his game. But he's solid. Look at that ratio, a 4.5 to 1 ratio on assist to turnover. You can't ask any more for a point guard. So he's been everything that was advertised. If there's, he's A+ in my book. The other issues, hey, if you have help defense, like you said, you have a shooting guard who could, not a non-Fournier defensive player, it'll be great. He'll be fine, man. We saw him with Dallas last year. They were a top 6 defense last year, so he can do what you need him to do. So nothing but A+ for me for Jalen. Like I said, I just feel so badly for him that we don't have shooters and other types of players that'll give him the spacing for us to really see how good he is.
Yeah, so far we see
he's unstoppable, man.
Unstoppable is a reach. He's difficult to.
Meaning when he gets to the hole, his move and stuff. You better be 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan. If you're about the same size, he's gonna score on you.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. So far, he's averaging 19.3 points per game, 3.9 rebounds per game. He's got 7.2 assists per game to 1.6 turnovers per game. And you compare that to some of the other guys we've gone through. For the most part, they're averaging 1-to-1.
1-to-1
turnovers, and this one is damn near 4-to-1 almost, 3-to-1, but close enough to
4-to-1. No, I think it's almost 4.5-to-1 actually.
1.5 times 4 threes. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. So yeah.
Don't mess with a Jew when it comes to numbers.
I'm not going there. So he's he's shooting 49.3% from the field and 29.4% from the 3-point line. He's shooting 78.9% from the charity stripe. So he's definitely given us a player that's been extremely consistent. We need a bucket. For the most part, Jalen Brunson is a guy that we can give the ball to, and he can either get us that bucket or at least make the right decision and give us the best look to make to have a quality look. So I've been a big fan of what he's been able to do as a point guard. I mean, we've seen though that there are some limitations. That's probably the reason Jalen Brunson was available on the open market for the most part. There are some questions, and the Mavs took some time before they really wanted to lock him in, allowed him to get to free agency, and he ended up in our arms. So he's definitely a solid player, but we've seen there's some issues with him defensively. Teams have been able to target and attack him, but I think a lot of that can be pointed back at Tom Thibodeau not really putting the best lineup out there around him to kind of negate some of the things that he gives up defensively. So I'm excited to see how this team looks now with either Cam or Quentin Grimes in that starting lineup, just to see if we'll see any improvement from the team defensively and also maybe some improvement from him defensively as well.
Yeah, but also accountability. I loved his comments after the game, whether the loss to the Hawks, etc. Just said, all these turnovers, any DeJounte Murray. He was basically saying the guy was phenomenal. He was taking accountability, and I love that. Like saying, I'm making a note of it, but yeah, he was keeping it real. And then they interview Julius. Gotta watch the tape. Gotta watch the tape. It's like, you didn't learn anything from last year, you stupid ass. It was like, didn't you take some media training or whatever? That's what you giving us these, we could listen to Tibbs to say that stupid crap, gotta watch the film. No, we just watched you. It was like, so, and he doesn't pull that crap, Brunson. He keeps it real. He's a scholar athlete. I love smart.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of what he's been able to do. Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm not shocked that Randle wasn't able to give us a legitimate answer to that question, because for the most part, Randle doesn't seem like he wants to give us much information, period. So that did surprise me too much. But I've been extremely excited with what Jalen Brunson has been able to do with this squad. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to do as much winning as we would have liked. But if you look at, point guards around the league, yeah, there are a few point guards you'd have over Jalen Brunson, but it's not like before where you had a laundry list of freaking point guards that you take in the league over Jalen Brunson. I think Jalen Brunson has been at least, top 15, top 16 point guard in the league, which is above average for the most part. And I think that's exactly what we paid for.
Yeah, I can see Jalen Brunson part of a championship team. It's just a couple other players that we've talked about that I don't. Hey, just quick, folks. We have 207 people in the chat. We have 74 likes. Keith and I always ask your help to please get us over that 100 like metric for the algorithm for YouTube. If you have subscribed, thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, as I always say, it's the one-stop shop for all Knicks news, rumors, and analysis. Please turn on that all reminder bell so you don't miss out on any of the wonderful content. Please share the link on your favorite social media platform. You can catch it live. Shout out to the replay gang. We answer we love chopping it up with all your comments and stuff like that. Shout out to the best mods on the planet. We appreciate all you do. And just real quick, shout out to Bricks Nation. Again, Willie Cruz, my friend Anthony R. Hope all is well. Please send my love to Danette, Silver Surfer, Parish Duggar. Hey, Parish, I don't mean to bum you out tonight, man. We're just calling it. We're calling it like we see it. And then we said Ashley Inc., the one and only Wiz, Bricks Nation, Anthony 212. So thank you, everybody, including Geraldine MacGyver, our lady, the first lady.
Salute. Thank you for that, Foxy. Also, we have E. Gibson in the chat. He says, JB thus far is proven to be a solid sign. We are still building chemistry, but the most obvious issues we need to improve are on the defensive end. 100% agree with that. And it's interesting, too, because the Knicks, for the most part, was solid defensively over the last 2 seasons. It's just weird now that all of a sudden we seem like we can't guard anybody and we can't close out one bit. Even though, now that I think about it, we did have some issues closing out for the most part. I think that's an issue with Tom Thibodeau coach teams, period, trying to defend the three-point line. I think he's had some issues in Chicago and Minnie, and, which were some of the reasons why he ended up getting canned.
Yeah, you can't count on every year being a bubble year, man.
All right, let's see what else we have going on in chat. Knicks 100 a game says, but things always fall apart around year 3 with Tibbs. Teams we knew that before we got them. Yeah, right around there. Team year 3 or year 4.
Yeah, we went over. There was a wonderful story that a writer did for the Athletic like 5 years ago. Exactly, the 5 steps to Tibbs, and like you just said, and Keith just said, year 3 is when everything goes sour.
Yep, everything starts to go, take the turn to the worst.
All that screaming on the sideline on guys, it just gets, when you win, you can tolerate it. When you're just mediocre, you just get tired of that stuff, man. This ain't college. These are grown men.
You don't want to deal with it. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, like you said, they say the same thing in football. Certain coaching styles you'll live with if you're seeing results. But if you're not seeing the results, it's like, why am I going to live with this guy barking on me 24/7 if we're still losing games?
And also working us to death in training, in practice, and then our legs are tired for the real game.
Mm-hmm. And they know when they play bad, they're going to be talked about. So it's a double-edged sword. You want to be put in a position where you can succeed because you know what type of market you're in. And, there's certain people within the fan base that they'll swing from one extreme to the next extreme based on, individual game performances. So, you have to deal with all that. You would like your coach to put you in the best position to succeed. And I feel like Tom Thibodeau really hasn't done that for his tenure here. He hasn't put Emmanuel Quickley in the best position to succeed. He hasn't been able to put Julius Randle, I believe, in the best position to succeed. And I also don't think he's been putting another guy we're about to talk about in the best position to succeed. And that's going to be R.J. Barrett. You can see so far this season, R.J. Barrett is averaging 19.3 points per game, 5.9 rebounds per game, and he's another one averaging a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio.
That's real sad.
Yeah, that's 3 or 4 players that we've discussed so far that have 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratios. We're just giving the ball away. We're giving the ball away to the other team more than we're giving it to ourselves.
Recipe for disaster, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. And you can see the efficiency numbers just aren't there at the moment. He's shooting 43.6% from the field, 27.5% from the three-point line. And the free throw shooting has gotten better. He's shooting 81.1% from the charity stripe. So we do have to commend him for that. So, Foxy, this is year 4 But this is year one with the after he signed the new deal. Now it doesn't go into effect next season, but that deal still is hanging over his head. So how have you felt about RJ Barrett's start to the season, especially in a season where he was actually paid as if he was supposed to be a major contributor, and he's contributing with the 19.2 points per game. But I think you look at the poor shooting numbers, and he's been, a little bit detrimental to the team when he can't knock down his shot. So how have you felt about his performance so far?
It's irked me. Hey, I'm a firm believer that a team should reflect the city, the attitude of the city. And RJ, when Donovan came here, everyone was amped up. Donovan was amped up. And I can understand you just keeping it real and saying, I'm not Donovan, but I'm going to put on a show and let you know that I'm a baller. First thing that came to my mind a couple of years ago was the bubble with Donovan and Jamal Murray. Jamal was like saying, I'll match you every shot. And it was incredible watching. So RJ's a lead at getting to the hole. Everybody in the league knows he's going to go left and go to the hole. Actually, nobody can stop him. So if he can just finish, I don't care if it's not pretty or anything. If the ball goes in the hole, that counts. So he just looked like there was, I think I said to you all during the game and also to George, shout out to Into the Knicks verse, that his lack of emotion bothered me. That you should be really up for this game. They were dangling you for this guy, Donovan Mitchell. You got to show everybody why, and you just showed you were okay. He showed he was a superstar or a star. I'll say a star, not necessarily a superstar.
He looked like a superstar. He looked like the best player
15,
on the court.
5 threes in the first quarter. I know, and it was lighting it up. But that's what you want a player to do. I'm coming. Halliburton a couple years ago said, every team that passed on me, every time I play you, I'm going to haunt you. I'm like, you should have taken that guy. I've said it. Everybody in the chat knows me for years now. That's what was the player on my board for the Knicks. You want a player with that type of attitude. You're playing in New York. You got to be a dog. And, RJ, he's a good kid and stuff, but I don't know, man, what the hell goes on about, I want to see some fire there. And, I don't want you to, see you go like that before the game starts. It's all bullshit to me, man. I want to, you're a guy's going off showing you who the real star is, and you're just showing that you're a really good role player. And it bothered me a whole lot. And, hey, did you see the highlights of Jamal Murray the other day?
No, what was he doing?
He was lighting it up. I'm so glad he's back from that knee injury, but he did a reverse dunk, made a fake, went down, and I just said to myself, Jesus, we missed out on Halliburton in a trade. We missed out on Donovan Mitchell. Folks, we need a killer like a Jamal Murray, man. If we get a kid in the draft, takes a couple of years for killers to get born. This is already, that knee's solid. People forget that DeJounte Murray blew out his knee a number of years ago, and we just saw him the other day look scary, and he looked scary again yesterday. It's like, you know what? We have all these assets. Go for DeJounte Murray on this team as there too. Brunson and stuff like that. But, we need a killer, and there's nothing about RJ that's a killer. And that bothers me. His contract there's a reason why he got paid and he accepted the contract that he got. I think everybody,
on Monday, Kristaps Porzingis, Bradley Beal, just a little too much here at the center on Wednesday night.
Everyone gave something with the 76ers trying to get that bad taste out of their mouth.
That's the reason the trade didn't go down.
And then after you're frustrated because they don't let you play.
Step back from Tobias, and he falls. Tobias Harris gets the score and started here tonight.
Where he likes to operate. He's an elbow foul line kind of guy. It's what he did in Dallas, trying to get there again this year. Makes sense.
Nice step back. 4 quick ones for Tobias Harris.
He can't pop or roll, so you've got to make sure that he's got an eye on Julius and what he's doing.
So RJ, Obi, and Mitch, thanks. Plus all these drafts.
You're not going to get too many opportunities if you don't make the most of the ones you get early on.
He's not it.
Baseline
Mitch, nope, he's not it. Obi, he's not it. So
couple of bets,
the guy
get a
he
whole
said
lot.
yes to, Laurie Markkinen, is lighting it up this year if he stays healthy and stuff. And they're surprising everybody, Utah. So if they're lighting it up or surprising a lot of people, take a step back and look at it as a talent evaluator, Danny H, not as a Nick hater. And everybody's like, did you believe that RJ was left off all the rookie team or left off this? The people around the league, and you saw Anthony Edwards last year. We'll be seeing him in a couple of days. He laughed and like saying, RJ is nothing. We just heard John Morant say, go onto the screen, RJ can't hit a jumper, and he only goes left. So the league is telling us what they think of RJ. Forget about us being Knicks fans and stuff like that. The talent evaluators are just saying he's okay. And but I don't think they're even thinking of him as a fringe all-star. He'd be a fringe all-star on a bad team, but on a good team, he's a one-trick pony. Like Josh said, he goes left. And his shots, I'm glad he hit a few shots but again, for his style of play, he's getting to the line only 4 times a game. For his style of play, he should be getting to the line 8 times a game. 10 times a game, make them foul you. You're especially like we said, we want them at the 2, bullying, undersized shooting guards, get them away from the big guys at the 3. So he'll score 20 points again this year, folks. He'll do everything, but we want a championship caliber team. We saw, Keith, when you and I talk behind the scenes, what do I say about RJ on defense and stuff like that that I'm stunned about?
Yeah, just wanted to make sure with the chat, is the audio okay? I think I had audio on the video that I wasn't able to pull off, but I think the audio should be fine now. So you had a lot to say about RJ, Foxy. I think last year I thought RJ was starting to move toward that killer phase. We saw him run off a string of 30-point games. And I think this season, I know he gets off to slow starts, but for him to be shooting this poorly, only knocking down 27.5% of his three-point shots, what does it take, 3 games for him to even hit a jump shot? If I'm not mistaken, it was something like that before he actually knocked down a jump shot or a shot outside of the paint. So for the shot to be looking this broken, even though I think he's starting to find his way a little bit, but the shot has kind of looked a little bit broken. It hasn't looked as fluid as we saw in the preseason. And now it's starting to concern me because if he doesn't have that shot falling, it's going to be a lot difficult for him to get into the paint when everybody's going under the screen. And it's going to be a lot easier for them to kind of funnel him into that help defender and make life even more difficult. And we already know RJ Barrett does have an issue with his shot getting blocked. So me personally, I think RJ still has the tools to be a solid player, but he's going to have to be much better with, knocking down his jump shot. And he also has to be a lot better defensively. We've heard him over the last, couple seasons saying he wants to be one of the, premier defenders or one of the premier perimeter defenders in the league. And we haven't seen him been anywhere close to that. In fact, we've seen Cam Reddish be a better defender in just a couple games than I think we've seen RJ be.
Not even close. That much better defender.
Yeah.
And getting to, I asked you a question, you answered it actually. Mm-hmm. You used the word slow. Behind the scenes, I'll say to Keith, Jesus, there's a term, you try to get skinny getting around screens and stuff. He's so slow that the guy, he doesn't have recovery speed. So the minute they get that step on RJ, it's over. You got to hope that recovery, your help, whether it's Mitch or somebody coming from the weak side or whatever it is, somebody's going to come help him. But he's so slow. He's, in his position, you would think, so 9 games, he's had his shot blocked 11 times already, and he only has 3 steals for the whole season. So, so like you were saying, Cam, get 3 steals in a game, man, with that. So it's not even close on the defensive, but he looks even slower than I've ever remembered RJ. He looks, and for him to do stuff on offense, it's a whole buildup. It's not like a guy that we watch. It's like one fake boom, just created separation, got the shot. He's got to do this whole thing of dribble, and what's going to happen? He's going to go left. So it's a whole buildup for him go left, and it's like, God, man, there's nothing. there's nothing dynamic. That one dribble, he loses a guy, one quick fake, boom, No, he's like slow, like, damn, man, it's like baby fucking Yui playing on the team.
We got Paris Duggar. He says, Keish, you can't measure RJ on scoring. His floor game, passing, dribbling, and defense is what the killer is. I hear you on that, but he really hasn't been doing great defensively. We look at his passing. He's averaging a 1-to-1 turnover to assist ratio. And same thing with dribbling. We really haven't seen him become this great ball handler. I mean, he's solid enough. He's not turning the ball over like Julius Randle or anything like that, but I mean, I wouldn't say his handle is extremely tight and he's able to get anywhere on the court that he feels. So, I mean, there's still some areas that he has to work on and improve, but he's definitely taken a step back this season, I think, so far. Even though, again, it's only been a few games, so you don't want to just say that it's over for him or anything like that, or he's going to be terrible for the remaining portion of the season. But if he continues to trend this way, it will be a disappointing season, at least for me. Other people might say, he's scoring close to 20 points per game, so it's a solid season. But for me personally, if he continues to trend this way, I think the Knicks are going to have a tough time winning games, and it's going to be a disappointing season for RJ Barrett.
Yeah, like I said, I'm all about building a championship caliber team. And like I said, Brunson, I could absolutely see part of the foundation of that. I just can't see RJ and Randle.
As a dynamic duo?
Yeah, I wish they were dynamic. You have a super chat.
Super chat from Jay Boogie. Yeah, I see it. Salute to Jay Boogie. We appreciate the contribution. It says, to the 25% of the Knicks family that don't know, I'll tell you this. Jay Brunson's team. This is Jay Brunson's team, and at least allow a year to build around him correctly. First, next year, bring in Coach Jay Wright and put Eric Spoelstra in the front office. That's a little bit risky. Because Eric Spoelstra, I mean, he might take part in decisions, but for the most part, that's Pat Riley running the show. So I don't know if I'd give Spo autonomy to come in here and do whatever he needs to do in order to make a quality team. How you feel?
Yeah, well, we appreciate the $20 though, but I definitely don't agree bringing in a Jay Wright. He was great in college. I don't want to bring in a college guy. I want to bring in a proven guy. We've talked about Kenny Atkinson is Keith and I's guy, and I'm not gonna back off of that. And I'd rather go for other guys that are in front office that are doing things.
Proven track record,
and that keep trading on draft day instead of taking talent. You keep trading down. It's like the numbers don't lie. You're only going to get really good role players, but where the hell's the star that you need?
Yeah, but thank you for the contribution, Jay Boogie. Me personally, I'd go Kenny A, like Foxy said, and with the front office, I'm still not sure who I would target in the front office. I got to do a little bit more research. I know I did some research last offseason, but I don't remember some of the names I pulled up. So do some research, see if I can bring you guys some names, because I think if we move on from Tom Thibodeau, we'll be moving on from the remaining people in the front office shortly thereafter. I just don't see Dolan being patient enough to give them another year or two to bring in a new coaching staff. And if you're only going to give them 1 year with the new coaching staff, what's the point of having the front office here in the first place? Might as well clean house and bring in a new squad.
Yeah. Hey, I see my friend Gregory Castillo in the chat. Hi, Greg. Hope all is well with you and the family. He's down in Texas, man. Is Devin Vassell on the Spurs lighting it up? He's coming into his own this year, man.
Yes. We got 99
That's
likes.
another guy that was on a list that we didn't select.
True. We got 99 likes. Can someone do us a solid and be that one to get us over 100? We greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate the support. We got a full house here tonight. D Nice 77, Recession Proof, Leighton Griffiths. Thank you guys for tuning in. Leighton Griffiths says, change the coach and the team plays better. I wouldn't be surprised. And also, go ahead.
I don't know about that, only meaning that changing coach has a short time thing, but the players still play the game on the court, man. And if you have Randle doing Randle stuff to impact, what Jalen was brought in here to do, and you have guys that can't hit open shots, the players still play on the floor, man.
I think another coach, though, would probably be more open to benching Julius Randle, especially if they don't have that rapport that they've built like Tibbs and Randle have over his last few seasons. I mean, because the thing is, Tibbs is in a hard spot, because if he does go ahead and start, cracking the whip per se on Julius Randle and sit him and things like that, then he might risk Julius Randle just completely letting go of the wheel and saying, all right, screw this, everybody's against me. So it is a hard relationship for Tom Thibodeau to manage, because regardless of what happens, for the Knicks to be good, we need to be getting some production from Julius Randle. So maybe that can be a cause of Tom Thibodeau kind of babying him. But then again, you'd want Tom Thibodeau to be a little bit more fair with the way he treats players. With a little, you're not going to treat everybody the same. I forgot which player mentioned that, but you just have to treat everybody fairly. And if he's, throwing some other guys under the bus when they're not playing well, and he's not, at least pulling Julius Randle when he's making poor technical fouls, or he's elbowing players out there on the court and putting us in bad situations, then, I think the locker room might start to notice that and be a little bit upset. And we'll talk about that, because there have been some mumbling and grumbling within the locker room and whatnot.
Yeah. B. Willis, hope all is well with you and your family. Says our young guys need a teacher. They do, but B, we need athleticism. On offense, it's all about first steps. Speed, there's a reason why that term speed kills. It allows you to get to your spot on offense, before somebody else, to make your own shot, and allows you to get to the spot that the guy that you're defending loves and get there before him, so they don't get to their spot. We don't have the speed, and that's what we were talking about. When I was talking about Terry Eason and the draft this year, it's like we need an infusion of athleticism on this team. That the guys are good, but the league they're just incredible guys. Especially with the game going, you need guys that have the footwork and speed on the perimeter, and it's just every game it's illustrating to us that they're good young kids. But they're just a half slow getting around screens in this league. If you're a second slow on a screen, it's over. It's over.
Yep. Eat my dust is pretty much what they're going to say.
Eat my dust is right.
All right.
Yo, Cully, how are you, Cully? Just wanted to shout out my friend.
Salute to Cully. He says if Tibbs keeps up with the collapsing and leaving the three open, then moves have to be made. I'm trying to be nice to Tibbs this year and give the benefit of the doubt, but nah, the whole league shoots threes. Facts. You can't keep giving up these wide open threes and expect us to be competitive or be in positions to pull games out, at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And we were speaking about athleticism. Well, let's get to the athletic portion of this roster, and that would be the second unit. So here, once everybody's back and healthy, I think this is what the second unit could look like. You've got Derrick Rose, Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, Obi Toppin, and our guy, Isaiah Hartenstein.
I love when you say that.
You got to make sure I'm saying it correctly. And also,
Frankenstein.
Facts. And also, to let everybody know, the stats that are highlighted in green are pretty much career highs. So if they continue at this pace, it would be a career high. So you look at Derrick Rose, he's shooting 47.8% from the three-point line. That would be a career high. Emmanuel Quickley, he's averaging, 5.6 rebounds per game. That'd be a career high. Obi Toppin, 42.9 from the three-point line, would be a career high. And then you have iHeart averaging 8.7 rebounds per game, which would also be a career high. So let's talk about the first player with the second unit, and that will be iHeart. So iHeart, he's now being elevated into the starting lineup due to the injury to Mitchell Robinson, and for the season he's averaging 8.4 points per game, 8.7 rebounds per game, and another 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, which isn't great, but you don't expect him to have a lot of assists for them. Even though he's a solid passer, you'd think he'd have
what I was about to say, no, you do expect him to have a lot of assists. What we saw in the preseason, at the pinch post hitting cutters and stuff like that.
But we don't run the offense to him, so that's
we're not running we're not optimizing his skill set.
Facts. And about 26.1 minutes per game. That's the assist to turnover ratio. And in the shooting numbers, field goal percentage 55.7% from three. From the field. The 3-point percentage is 18.2%. We thought that would be a lot higher. I mean, the 3-point shot isn't really dropping for him right now, but he still threatens the three, and I think teams have to at least respect it. So that does help open things up. and he's shooting 75% from the charity stripe. So, Foxy, what have your impressions from iHeart been so far, especially seeing that he's been given a larger role than we had initially expected at the start of the season?
Yeah, I'm stunned, with the 5 minutes more per game than Mitch, 26 to 21. But he's a solid backup. He's a really solid backup. Yeah, I love his energy. He's still finding out the guys. I'm glad that, he's made stupid fouls in preseason, but he seems to be learning on that. He's made some blocks. So I have no complaints about iHeart other than the coach, that we saw some gorgeous passing on guys cutting, and now he's on, we don't see it. We should see that. We should see at least 2 to 3 baskets a game. A guy's cutting off a pick and roll and stuff like that. We saw him, and we mentioned this. We saw him on a dunk. He rolled on the pick and roll. He got the ball and did a dunk. We want to see more of that. So the 3-point percentage, I fooled around a few weeks ago, but I was serious when I said, Lou Cornett. A lot of people made iHeart. It was a great signing, but people were like, he's going to stretch the floor. And it's like, did you see how many shots he took at the Clippers? Like, yeah, he shot 47%, like on 7 shots. Where, come on. The guy, hopefully, all we need him to do is hit 1 a game. Just to keep him honest, that 18% just doesn't make it. At least be around 30%. If you're going to be bad, be 30% bad. If you're 18% bad, then
that's brutal.
I'll plant the name Derek Lively from Duke, a center. That is a stretch 5 or Flipowski on Duke. That's a 6'11" guy that can shoot and stuff like that. We need a real sniper stretch 5. This guy, I love his effort. He has good smarts and everything, but he's a really good backup, and that's what he was designed for. I don't think he's designed for being a starting guy. He's getting killed on pick and roll. He's getting killed on the perimeter. I mean, destroyed.
Yeah, definitely getting killed in those 2 areas. But like I said, like you've said, he's a backup, so him being out there this much, you would expect them or opposing teams to expose him or find some holes in this game that they can try to benefit from. So outside of that, I think he's been doing a lot of what has been asked from him. He's doing solid, knocking down shots. The 3-point shots not falling, but inside the arc, he's been knocking down some shots. I like to call him Floatenstein. The way he's been displaying the floater, so I think that's nice. Shows
his touch.
Yeah,
we've talked about a couple other players that we were concerned that they may have work on their mechanics. They just don't have touch. God didn't give it to him. He has a nice touch in that floater from the paint.
Yep. Also, he's been solid, protecting the rim. He's not as good as Mitchell Robinson, but he's been getting some block shots and making life difficult for players when they try to attack the basket. Like I said, he's not the same level of disruptor as a Mitchell Robinson, but I think he's definitely as good as we saw with Nerlens Noel when he was healthy. So I think that's solid because now you're getting similar, I guess, defense, but you're getting someone that's giving you a lot more offensively. So for that to be the center we have as a backup, I think is definitely solid. And I'm somewhat of a fan of what he's been able to give us so far. Mitchell Robinson steps out. Mitchell Robinson gets too many fouls. iHeart steps in, and I don't think the team necessarily misses a beat. You do miss some of what Mitchell Robinson gives you, but I don't think it's as drastic as some people might expect between the starter and the backup center.
Yeah, but he made two hustle plays on the ground. I think it was Smarty got the ball away from, wrestled the ball away from him, and he kicked it out. Another way, he dove and pushed the ball, I think, to Brunson on another play. I love that type of, a couple streams ago, I made the comment about Noah. When Tibbs had Noah in Chicago, he's that type of gritty player, man. So, and he's still, he's only 9 games in. iHeart's going to get better. He's absolutely going to get better. And like I said, if he can get that 3-point shot up to around 30%, I'm not asking to hit league average. Just 18% is just not going to make it. But 30% will keep honest, and it'll make the difference to all the players because now you have spacing.
So another player in that second unit I want to talk about is Derrick Rose. Now, Derrick Rose has been up and down for the most part. He's averaging 7.1 points per game, 2 rebounds per game. He's averaging 2.1 assists to turnover. No, he's averaging this pretty much a 1-to-1, but he's averaging 2.1 assists to 1.3 turnovers per game, and he's doing that in 12.9 minutes per game, which is solid. You want to try and monitor his minutes, especially with a team that has some playoff aspirations. You know, who knows how far we'll go, but we do have playoff aspirations. That's at least what Tibbs is coaching for. So to monitor his minutes is going to be important. He's shooting 46.3% from the field, and he's actually shooting even better from the three-point line, shooting 47.8% from the three-point line, and he's hit all his free throws. So Foxy, how have you felt about Derrick Rose's performance? I know to start, I was really excited to see what he was able to do. I think to start the season, he was one of our best players. But for some reason, he's kind of been turning over the ball a lot recently. There's been some bad decision making on his end. So how have you felt about his performance so far?
Yeah, I thought he was going to show some rust, and so he's definitely shown some rust, but he's also shown us glimpses of D Rose getting to the hoop, and like you said, that 3-point shot is money. So I like what he's doing on offense, but it hurts me, man. He's done on D. He's not doing meaning he can't do anything on defense anymore. So
he's a cone, pretty much.
He's great on offense, but he's getting lit on a defense. So this is his last season. $14 million we'll have next season. But while he's here, he's a class vet. We'll see him do really good things. But like you said, 12.9 minutes is the sweet spot. You have Brunson. We said it was going to be built-in minutes management, and we're seeing it. So he'll get it. Hopefully he'll stay healthy and he'll get his rhythm going, and we'll go from there. But unfortunately, D Rose can't even play defense anymore.
Yeah, definitely defense is an issue for D Rose. But I think defense has been an issue for D Rose over the last few seasons.
It has, and everyone was blaming Kemba and everything, but before he went out and stuff. But he's been bad. But you can deal with it because of his offensive outbursts. But now, all we want him to do is that, like we said, the 12 to 14 minute range because of Brunson is just do the right thing, make the other guys around him, make IQ the best he can be, Obi and everything on that team, penetrating, getting to the thing. He's a great foul shooter. So, but he's a class act. I love D Rose. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I love D Rose.
My bad. Headphone was dying.
No worries.
All right, so here we go. Let's see what we have going on in the chat.
I think we have a super chat from the one and only Jay Boogie again.
Yes, you are correct. Thank you for pointing that out. Jay Boogie, appreciate the support. He says RJ had a good enough preseason where that rhythm should have carried over to the start of the season. Facts. He's not slow starting. He's just breaking. Get right, RJ. I guess maybe broken. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with RJ. Like Jay Boogie said, in the preseason, the form looked great. He was knocking down the three at a high clip, and in the minutes the game started to count, it's like all that went out the window. So hopefully he's starting to turn a corner a little bit. But I mean, it's definitely concerning that his shot has not been falling, because without his jump shot, it's extremely easy. I won't say it's extremely easy, but it's a lot easier for teams to take away his ability to drive.
Especially when games get serious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What else we have going on in chat? Willie Cruz says, why is D Rose still playing? He should be situational. Deuce should be playing more. I mean, because the reason you probably see Rose playing more than Deuce is the fact that Deuce just doesn't have the ability to penetrate that we see D Rose still have, even though he's getting up there in age. Deuce has some trouble breaking down defenses, getting into the paint. And we all know that's exactly what Tom Thibodeau wants his guards to do, so that they can, penetrate and then kick it out to the open shooters. So I would say that's why we're still seeing D Rose playing over a guy like Deuce McBride, which is, I won't say it's unfortunate, because you do like to have vets like a D Rose on the team get some minutes and help kind of keep the house in order and things like that. But I would like to see Deuce. And with Deuce no longer being on a two-way contract, he's not even getting run over with the G League. So where is he really going to get the opportunity to get better? So it's unfortunate, but, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. I love Deuce, but we talked about there was a reason why he was picked 36. He's slow-footed. And Keith brought up great points that, in West Virginia, he had a really good mid-range game, but he doesn't have it in the pros because, he may have a good a wingspan and stuff, but if you don't have the handle and you don't have a first step, you can't create separation against these guys. You see D Rose is shooting almost 48% from three. He's a great foul shooter. He's a blink under 50% in those small minutes. So if, we know he's really good on defense, but if he doesn't go anywhere near those offensive statistics on D Rose, how is he going to, and D Rose is healthy. We know Tibbs, he's a creature of habit. He's, an injury is going to happen like last year where Grimes got his burn because of an injury. That would have to be the same thing this year for Deuce to get some burn.
Yeah, we definitely need to have an injury, and nobody's hoping for an injury, but that's the reality of the situation. Somebody has to go down for minutes to be available for a guy like Deuce McBride, and I don't think Deuce. You think Deuce will be here to see the end of his contract?
No.
Does he have a 3-year deal? I think next year might be his last.
Yeah, well, like I said, I really think that if Rokas continues the season at Barcelona, playing with Thomas Satoransky and a few others, he would make the most sense. He's a real floor general. So mimic what you have on the first team with Jalen Brunson, good three-point shooter, makes the guys around him better. Big, 6'5", so he has the size, and also the draft. Depending on where we draft, there's a kid, I don't know if our friend Justin L. or Jay Money's listening, but Cason Wallace is a rookie at Kentucky this year, 6'4", 6'5". The next coming of Drew Holiday, man, a lockdown point guard defender. If he gets a shot and stuff and he's available at 12, he just has a lot more of a higher ceiling than Deuce because of talent. So it's a league about talent. And Deuce, he plays well on D and stuff, but you have to do a lot more than that. He doesn't see the floor. He's not a shooting guard, so he doesn't have the instincts to see the floor as a point guard, and that's killing him. They could deal with him not hitting the shots if he had those other instincts.
Yeah, I hear you on that, Foxy. I don't disagree. All right. I'm going to put a poll in the chat real quick because I really want to. We don't have a individual slide for Quentin Grimes, seeing that he hasn't really played much minutes, period. But I would like to know what the chat's thoughts are on the starting, I guess, two guard situation for the Knicks. Who do you guys think should start? Do you think it should be Quentin Grimes, or do you think it should be Cam Reddish? So, Foxy, while the chat gives us their answers, I want to know what you think. Who do you think, once Quentin Grimes is healthy, who do you think should be the long-term answer, at least for this season, at the starting two?
If Grimes is healthy?
Yep, if Grimes is healthy.
I think he should be at the two. Because, the whole thing is, in a perfect world, you and I said a while ago, in a perfect world, we'd have Deuce, RJ at the two, Cam at the three, Obi at the 4, and go from there. But
I apologize, Foxy. I kind of handicapped you. The actual question I asked was who should replace Evan Fournier in the starting lineup. So if you want to be creative and downshift RJ to the 2, you can do that.
Thanks. Yeah. So, I don't even see Fournier on the second team anymore with the other guys because of the amount of burn and the history of rotate. The amount of 10-man rotation, 9 or 10-man rotation with Tibbs. So I don't know what the hell they're going to do. Like we said, it was really simple for Quentin if he came back healthy. All we wanted to do was play D and hit threes. We could deal that he's only a one-level scorer from 3 and didn't do the other things. But, if you could shoot the 3 and play great D, that's what we need, especially next to Brunson. It would hide a lot of the mistakes and stuff like that. But, I think it would make it better, but I'd really like them to give Cam an opportunity. He's playing 20 minutes. We asked for that for a while, but you have to give him a run. And hopefully he can stay healthy, but you can't give him 5. You got to give him like 50. You got to give him a season. Let Cam ball out, give him the minutes, and let's see if he can become the player that everyone thinks he can be. So, and I think he has greater ceiling than Grimes. Yep. So that's why in a perfect world, I'd move RJ to the 2 because he's under contract for the next 4 years. So let Cam, because 6'8" guys with 7-foot wingspans just don't come along in the draft or in everything. There's not a lot of wings in this draft this year, folks. You know, it's a hard thing to get a 6'8" guy that can shoot threes and play great defense. Usually you saw Trey Murphy and a few other guys that it takes them a few years. They're so skinny. There are a lot of kids that come out at 6'8" and 7-foot wingspans from college are 190 pounds. You can't hold your spot at 190 pounds in the NBA. So it takes them 2 or 3 years hitting the weight room, getting the right diet to get strong, you know, so they can be something like a Mikal Bridges. So, but it's a game of rhythm, and he's a rhythm player, Cam. Play that kid, and I'd play him over Grimes. But Grimes, you know, you gotta. I can't think about Grimes anymore. I think he's going to be out a while with this foot. You know, the great Ron Cleveland always says the greatest ability is your availability, and he's showing last year he missed 36 games with that knee. Now he's doing this again this year, and it's like I can't even think about him anymore, Grimes, until he shows that he could be dependable. So I'm going full in on Cam.
Yeah, just to let everybody know what stats they're looking at, these are their career stats. Quentin Grimes really hasn't done much this season, so it wouldn't be fair to put what he's done this year up against Cam. So, but as you can see, not too far of a difference in age. We got Grimes is 22, Cam Reddish still only 23 years of age. Height, Cam definitely has the advantage there, him being 6'8", and Quentin Grimes only being 6'5". Some would say 6'4". If you,
I was about to say he's 6'5". He's 6'5" if he gets his fro going, but he's 6'3".
Same way Kimber was 6'1". I think they had him listed with.
Yeah, exactly. He's 6'3" and change. He's a real 6'8" Cam.
Mm-hmm. Facts. Watching him walk around his teammates, you really notice how tall Cam is. He's
exactly.
Not
he's the real deal, man.
Very tall. You can see Cam averaging 10.4 points per game in his career. Quentin Grimes averaging 5.8. The rebound, Cam has the edge at 3.1 rebounds to Quentin Grimes 2. Even though I will say Quentin Grimes came into the league, they said he was a pretty good rebounder. He just didn't have a good showing or a great showing last season. So I expect when he's given the opportunity, you should see those rebounds per game get an uptick. At the assists, you see 1.3 for Cam and only 1 assist for Quentin Grimes. And the field goal percentage, I was actually shocked that these numbers were a lot closer than I had expected. Field goal percentage, you have Grimes, he's only shooting 40% from the field. Cam is shooting 39.2, so basically a wash if you round Cam up and round Grimes down. And in the 3-point percentage, you got Grimes shooting 37.7% from 3, and Cam Reddish only shooting 32.8% from 3. So me too, Foxy, I'm there with you. Moving forward, I would have Cam starting. I would do the same thing you would do. I would shift RJ Barrett down to the 2 position. And then I would have Cam Reddish at the starting 3. That way, with the second unit, you still have a solid defender in a Quentin Grimes, and you have someone that can still knock down the 3. And you would be in a situation where you have other defenders out there in a Emmanuel Quickley that you can kind of withstand some of the height you're going to give up, because you would then have Quentin Grimes playing the 3 with the second unit. So there would be some height discrepancies when it comes to trying to match up with other teams' second unit. So that's the way I would go. The poll is continuing to go. I would close it now, but we're starting to see a shift towards Quentin Grimes. So I'll allow it to be open a little bit longer just to let you guys get your thoughts out. We do have some chats, some comments in the chat. We've got Negro1 says Cam is more talented. Eddie Suarez is throwing jokes. He says start Kevin Knox. Jay Bookie says Cam all day, every day. Hector Gaston says Cam's about to shake New York. Hopefully, man. I was hoping he was going to go off for 30 against the Celtics. I told George, if he goes off for 30 against the Celtics, I'm going live at 2 in the morning. I don't care what time I get home from work. I'm going live because we got to celebrate. Let's see.
Nothing like a stream when Keith does it in his underwear. I'm telling you.
Pause. What am I doing in my underwear?
The 2 o'clock in the morning streams.
Oh, okay. All right, copy.
Yeah.
Oh man. Let's see what Kaiser Soze says. When Grimes is healthy, he's going to shoot the 3 way better than Cam, and he's going to be a better defender.
I don't know.
I don't know about being a better defender, but I think he might still shoot the three better than Cam. I'll give him that.
Yep. Yeah, but he's not a 3-level scorer, though. So Cam at least can, slither and get his way to the rim. He's a much better foul shooter, Cam. And with that 7-foot plus wingspan, everybody talks about Grimes. And like I said, he's 6'3" and change. He's a really good 2. But his defense, it was a really short sample. But I'll just say to people, watch when the Nets beat the Knicks last year, Cam Thomas on the last possession. Watch Quentin Grimes was on Cam Thomas, and watch what happened. I don't know if that would have happened with Cam being on Cam Thomas.
Yeah, that goes right into what I saw a question from Craig. Let me see if I can find it again. I think he asked if Grimes was a better on-ball and help defender than Cam. I think you answered it right there. Yeah, he says, Craig says, is Grimes a better on-ball and help defender? I think I would say Cam probably is the better on-ball defender. I think he gets around screens better. But I think you look at Grimes and his tenacity on defense. You definitely have to give him credit there. Also, I think Cam is better in the passing lanes and things like that. Better at
really
strip.
good.
You saw when he stripped Tatum, when Tatum actually blew past him, but at least he recovered and was able to strip him. I know that proves to your point too. When you say RJ gets cooked, he really doesn't have the speed to recover. Well, Cam has both the speed and the length and the
length, yeah,
to kind of recover, and that definitely jumps off the screen when you watch games.
How many plays have we seen this year where Cam has reached in and knocked the ball off the guy's leg out of bounds and we got the ball back?
Yep.
So it's such a small sample that give this guy burn. Grimes is not the athlete that Cam is. Is the reason why he's not a 3-level scorer. He doesn't have a first step. He's very physical on defense, but he's not a great athlete. He's just average athletically. Cam with that length and you got to give Cam the motivation and stuff. Let him get burned. You put him on offense. It's very similar with Mitch and stuff. You get him involved on the offense, you'll see Cam playing some serious defense.
Splashing 12676 is Grimes better head, Cam better body.
It's a short sample. It's really hard to say that about Grimes. It's a real small sample.
Yeah, Kaiser Soze says the best thing to happen to Cam is Grimes' injury. Unfortunately, yeah, that's true. It opened up the door for him, and I won't say he's making the most of the opportunity, but he's definitely making a case for being a bigger part of this team.
Yeah, shout out to Dakula718. Really, what team is benching a $100 million player? Who did we say we would be benching?
Wait, somebody said, what do you see? The coolest? Let me read it. I see the coolest says Cam Thomas 6'3", Grimes 6'5". Where's the one you just read?
It's one of the latest ones that came in.
Oh, I think I'm delayed. Well, read it again to me.
Really, what team is benching a $100 million player? I don't remember us saying benching a player.
Yeah, I don't.
Other than Fournier, and he's not a $100 million player.
He's like, what is he, a $72 million player? What was the contract?
Well, at this point, he's a $38 million player. That's all we got left on him.
Yeah, Elijah says Cam takes bad shots. That's a fact.
He does.
And has tunnel vision. That's a fact. He does take some bad shots, and he's a good passer when he decides to give the ball up, when he's a willing passer. But for the most part, he does take some bad shot selection. Some bad shots, but I think that has a lot to do with the fact that he doesn't have any security. He doesn't know. He gives the ball up. He doesn't know when it's going to come back to him. We see for a lot of time he's out there camping in the corner and nobody really looking to give him the ball. So I think at times he forces the issue because he knows he looks at his career and he says he might be in a similar situation with Kevin Knox where he's bouncing around to another team like the Pistons, a team that's really not going to give him, I think, the best opportunity to succeed when they have other young players at that position that they invested draft capital in. So, Cam might look at a situation like that and say, I got to prove it here that I'm a player that other teams should be willing to invest in if things don't work out with the Knicks. So that's why you might see him force the issue here and there, take up some bad shots or things like that. But I think if he...
But you know what? Let him play with Brunson more. I think he'll have less of those shots. I think... he's rusty. He's trying to get his rhythm. He doesn't know when he's gonna. I think if you put him in the right situation, he'll blossom even more. So, hey, quick shout out to the Queen, Stephanie, Dope Soul Sports Talk. She said to be a three level scorer, you have to actually score in all 3 levels, not just get there. You got that right. And folks, if you haven't subscribed to Stephanie, Dope Soul Sports Talk, 8 a.m. The morning after a game and stuff. It's been such a wonderful show to be on. I'm an early riser, so I love you, Stephanie. It's a great show. Congratulations. It's about 45 minutes, 1 hour, but man, she's nailing it. Fantastic show, Steph.
Yeah, salute to Steph. Definitely put on a great show. I appreciate all the content you put out there into the Knicks verse.
Good people too.
Yeah, definitely. Nick Yak says, see how it works. Cam can't use 40% threes this year, 32% career, but Obi can 42% and 30 career. This dude is fair. I think he's coming at you, Foxy. But neither one of us said anything about Obi. What we said about Obi? We didn't even get to Obi yet.
We haven't got to Obi yet, but it never stopped them from hating Foxy. It's all these people, you're so negative on RJ. Yo, let me ask you a question. If we do that trade all over for Donovan, would you? And if the answer is no, then again, I got to get some of the shit you smoking.
But I think Obi is actually the next person we're going to be discussing. So that's a good segue. Nick Yak, we appreciate that. Let me just put Obi's stats up on screen. So let's see what Obi has been doing so far this season. He's averaging 10.3 points per game, 3.7 rebounds per game. Pretty much another 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. Only 16.3 minutes per game. Our guy Obi still can't crack 20 minutes per game as an average. Ridiculous. Even when he's shooting 50.7% from the field, but that was actually higher. I think before the last game, he was shooting right around 55, but now it's down to 50.7. And the three-point shot he's averaging 42.9%, or he's shooting 42.9% from the three-point line, and he's not hit all of his free throws. And unfortunately, Thibodeau still has found issues or hasn't found a way to get Obi out there on the court to play some meaningful minutes. Now, we've seen in the last couple games, he's starting to deploy the small ball lineup some. But I think even outside of the small ball lineup, just take some minutes away from Julius Randle. You don't need to have Julius Randle out there 33, 34, 35 minutes per game. He can play, 30, 29, 28, and you can give those extra minutes to Obi and still have a nice minute distribution at that power forward position. So, Foxy, I know you have, been somewhat critical of Obi and his ability to shoot the three. So how have you felt so far? I know you've been saying some positive things to me behind the scenes, but I don't know how you've seen Obi's play progress throughout the season. So I just wanted to know what you think.
Yeah, I have to give him credit, man. His stroke looks smooth. His 3-point, looks confident. It looks smooth. And then he hasn't added, it looks it, and as a fan and stuff, it looks like you feel like it's going to go in now. So I tip my hat to him. We talked earlier. I wish, he'd have more rebounds, and I wish he has the passing talent. I wish he'd have more assists and stuff. I'll tell you, folks, I would have lost a hell of a lot of money if he said to me, who's going to have more minutes, Cam or Obi? Cam was playing 20 minutes and him only playing 16. I would have lost the house, man. So, but yeah, I wish Obi got a lot more minutes. He has energy, and you know what? He had a skirmish on the sideline with Rick Brunson. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I think I heard it on Knicks Fan TV first, and then Stephon Bondi sent out a tweet.
Yeah, thank you. So Obi and Rick Brunson got into a heated argument last night in Philly. Sources confirm my understanding is that they smoothed it over after the game, and they have a strong enough relationship after Rick trained Obi during the pre-draft process. Obi only played really well. And you know what? I respect, and today I think Obi came out with a comment and made let me see, I think I have it here, that That's Obi said this. That's my family. I love Rick. It's just basketball, competitive. You see what happened after he did that? It got me going. And most of the times when I see that on the sideline, most of the time I'll say 90% of it, it's a defensive comment, meaning that you missed your defensive assignment. It's not about offense. So I think he got into him because we were echoing. Obi was a lot of times late on those closeouts. Obi was the man. Hauser and a few other guys, you're like saying, Obi, what are you doing, man? So I think Brunson let him know that, what are you doing? And I can understand from a player perspective during a game or something, you don't want to hear that shit. So it's something after the game. They had their word, but it's respect. But I love that he said that I don't think Randle would have came out and said something like this. So I've always liked Obi as a kid. I've always liked that every place that Obi's ever been, he gets better the next year. Like I said, that three-point shot's looking smooth. I like them to maybe, I've seen a few plays where the guy closes out real quick. He takes a dribble, but he doesn't take the midi. He'll dribble into the hole and stuff like that. I want him to develop a mid-range jumper, but hey, I would absolutely, if somebody said would be willing to take Randle, I would be elated with Obi being our 4. And I think in the right situation, he had a block the other day. If Obi's put in the situation where he has to rebound, I think he'll rebound. But he loves leaking out and stuff like that. But hey, I got Obi. He shut me up with his 3-point shooting, and I'm just hoping he shuts me up on a few other things. Hey, he's a monster in transition. If you don't like Obi in transition, you're crazy. It did bother me that he did we were down by 7 points though when he missed a reverse dunk the other day with IQ.
Yeah, that was definitely rough. But yeah, I'm glad that Obi was able to address it and point out that it's all love. It's part of the game. Sometimes there's dust ups on the sideline. And as long as something positive comes from it, you just have to, accept it, and hopefully Ovi can make whatever changes was discussed and continue to play better and better. Because we saw in that 76ers game, I'm not exactly sure when they had that dust up, but when you listen to what Obi says, it sounds like it definitely helped light a spark under the team as a unit. And we saw some incredible play from that unit down the stretch, and they were able to spark a miraculous comeback, because I'm telling you, when I was watching that game, I didn't expect us to come back at all. I was just keeping an eye on the game, seeing who was playing, who was still giving the energy, and who was actually, still putting effort out there. Because I think right before that game, they had the news story that came out, or was it? Yeah, they had the news story that came out right before that game about potentially firing Tom Thibodeau. So I'm watching in those minutes to see which guys continuing to give their all and play for their coach. Because if they let the rope go in that situation, hey, you're going up against a 76ers team that doesn't have Embiid, doesn't have Harden, and the way they started that game was brutal. I think it was just turnover after turnover to start, and for them to play like that, I was thinking, hey, you got to fire Tibbs at the end of the game. But the team rallied around, whether it be that argument or whether it be them going with small ball. I was extremely happy to see them step up like that. So I'm not too concerned about the dust up, especially when it actually led to this team playing well and getting the W.
Yeah, we got the W, shooting 27% from 3, and like you said, thank God Embiid and Harden weren't there, but can't do that anymore, Knicks, man. You can't have games shooting 27% in league from 3, not in this league.
Yeah, Kaiser Soze 718 says, I personally would play Obi at the 3. I don't know if I would go there. I think Obi's against certain threes is going to get blown by. Not to say that we don't have players already getting blown by out there, because we have even Fournier guarding threes at the moment, or at times. But for the most part, I think Obi is much better playing at the 4, going up against other guys that he can have a better or easier time trying to stay in front of. Foxy, what do you think?
You know what? It's changing so much that I'm trying to think out of the box. And I said to myself the other day when we played Cleveland, I'm like, they had Dean Wade at the 3. So if they could have Dean Wade at the 3, I think we could have Obi at the 3. Doesn't hurt having Donovan in the back there. But if he keeps stroking the ball from 3 the way he is, Obi, I'd give him a couple runs at the three. What the hell do we have to lose? Especially, like we said, in the transition and stuff like that. Got to get him minutes. You got to get him minutes because it's essential. Again, we have next year. We still have a club option next year for $8-point-something million. This year and next year are everything for us to determine his floor and ceiling. At his age and everything. So the only way to do that is giving him significant minutes. You can't do it at 16 minutes.
Facts. Let's see what else we have going on in the chat. Paris Douglas has back-to-back games also contributed to defensive legs being slower against the Celtics. I mean, I don't know if
we're 9 games in, Parrish.
Yeah, and the Celtics were coming off of a back-to-back as well. So those same slow legs should be, heavy legs trying to put up threes. They should be bricking just as much as we're giving them open contact. I'm giving them open shots. They should be tied too if that's the case. Let's see. Craig says IQ wishes he could play like Maxey. I mean, there were points last season where we thought IQ was getting the better of Maxey, but I think Maxey is really taking that next step this season and, showing what he can do and what kind of player he can be in this league. Like you said, that speed is different, his ability.
His first step is at another level than IQ, unfortunately.
And he can knock down the three, too. He had some poor shot selection against us. I was looking at it. I was like, ooh, that one's a doozy. But I guess you can't really blame him. He was out there playing with not too many guys evident to buy.
I was about to say, he is typical of a young kid taking the team on, trying to take a team on his shoulders without him beating Harden. Mm-hmm. So his shot selection left a lot to be desired. But I love the way he plays, man.
Yeah, so let's put up Emmanuel Quickley. We just mentioned him. 7.9 points per game. He's averaging 5.6 rebounds per game. I mentioned that earlier. That would be a career high if you kept that trajectory. And he's averaging a little bit, about 2-to-1 for the most part. 3.4 assists to 1.8 turnovers per game. And he's doing that in 21.9 minutes per game. And then the shooting efficiency is just terrible. He's shooting 34.8% from the field, 28.6% from the three-point line, and even the free throw shooting has struggled, which is shocking. He's only shooting 76.5% from the charity stripe. So, Foxy, what would you attribute to some of the struggles we're seeing from Emmanuel Quickley? Because this is a little bit concerning, almost 10 games in, and he's shooting so poorly, especially the free throw shooting.
Yeah, the free throw shooting is shocking. It'll come up. He'll be in the 80s and stuff by the time the season's over. I mentioned it before that I think maybe he lost some of his flexibility, hitting the weight room a touch too hard. But I don't know. I think that I brought up in previous streams that the realization with the contract Brunson and, that maybe he'll never be a starter in this league, that he'll be a microwave, and maybe he envisioned himself as a starter. So I think a lot of realities, and we talked about, hey, your first 2 years, 39% field goal percentage is not going to make it, man. What's he do this year? 34%. So he's not finishing at the rim on those floaters and the other stuff. And he has a weird rhythm to his playing. So when he's on, it's fine. But in the half court, when he's trying to set the team up, put them in their set, it's maddening, man. So it's like, yeah, watch this 3-2-1. He's going to call for the big for the second time to come up and set a screen for him at the top of the key. And yeah, so if he didn't, Taquavian Smith, North Carolina State, there's a lot of kids in this draft, folks, that should quickly got to get it together, because there's a lot of kids in this draft that can shoot just as well as him and are faster than him. It's about speed. So, I like him. He's improved his defensive game, but not to the level, though. You can't shoot the way he's shooting.
Yeah, especially coming into a season when you said you wanted to get your field goal percentages into the 40-some odds, and then you wanted to up your three-point percentage, and you dipped both of them. And not only have both of those dipped, but you've also dragged down your free throw percentage, which was the one good thing you were able to do since you've come into the league, which was knock down your free throw. So this is unfortunate for the most part, but I think Emmanuel Quickley has the ability to get better and kind of turn this around. I do agree with you. He does have trouble trying to break down defenses and get into the paint. But I think even when he's using these screens, he's making bad decisions off the screens. So I think that's something that he's definitely going to have to work better on, his decision making. And also moving the rock too, because at times he can kind of hold the ball a little bit, which is a little bit concerning. Also, Craig agrees with you, Fox. He says IQ can't break down anyone off the dribble. Bricks Nation says IQ's developing backwards. Eddie Alvarez says IQ's problem is Tibbs. He needs a defined role. So yeah.
Oh, Tibbs is giving him a blank check to take crazy shots, doesn't take him out and stuff like that. So he's got a lot of leeway. I don't know what a lot of other coaches if he would have had this leeway.
Yeah, he's definitely been getting some leeway because he takes some brutal shots, and you hear Tibbs say, "I want him to keep shooting." I'm like, all right, well then let Cam have that. Just keep that same mantra with Cam. Then when Cam's out there chucking up bad shots, don't bench him, don't yank him out real quick, and you're letting Quick out there have free reign to do whatever he pleases.
But I could deal with as crazy as it sounds, Cam doing it. But you're supposed to be a student. You're supposed to be, a point guard. You're supposed to be really, from an IQ standpoint, no pun intended. You're supposed to be at a level not to put up stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm. Hector Gaston says IQ gets a pass. Nick Yak says bring up career numbers. They are horrible. I know they're not great, but I can pull up the career numbers. If you guys want to see, I probably won't be able to put it on screen, but I'll be able to read them off to you. Let's put up.
And they're not pretty. Just meaning they're just average, man.
No, the shooting numbers are below average.
Oh, no doubt. I'm trying to be pretty and nice here because the whole stream is like, Foxy, you're negative. Foxy, you're negative. So it's like, I'm sorry I got eyes.
Yeah. So for his career, Emmanuel Quickley is shooting 39% from the field, and he's shooting 36% from the three-point line. It's funny. I was looking at, they were talking about a tweet, or at least I was talking about a tweet about Obi, talking about players that were drafted, 8th or higher and have less minutes per game or something like that. And they were talking about Joe Alexander, and I went to go Joe Alexander's stats, and Joe Alexander shoots the ball better than Emmanuel Quickley for their career. I was shocked. Yeah. And they kicked Joe Alexander out the NBA in year 2. And we're in Emmanuel Quickley's year 3.
But you know what? I think he was ahead of his time. I think he'd be if he was here now because of his size and his stretchability, I think he'd have a lease on life now.
He's trying to come back. I think he's been playing in the G League and he's been playing overseas and things like that, but it just hasn't worked for him.
Med, shout out to you and your family. Fox, you're not negative enough when it comes to Quickley. So I don't want to be negative on anything. I'm an analyst, so obviously I'm expressing my opinion based on my methodology of evaluating players. But 3 years, man, how long I'm very good at differentiating between trend analysis and an isolated data point. He's doing this 3 years now, and he's shooting under 40% field goal percentage. And he came into the league, with Tibbs saying he's a sniper, and he's just average. Just average. He's not shooting D Rose from 3.
He's been below average from 3.
Exactly. I'm trying to be nice here, man.
Well, we like to keep it real here. I'm not here to be nice with nobody.
Shout out to John Talento, our guy. He just got in, no problem, but love you, John. Hope all is well with the family.
Salute, John. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate the support. One of the members of Mod Squad. We appreciate the support. No worries about being late. If not, you'll tune in live, and then you can always rewatch later. But we appreciate the support regardless. So not only is Emmanuel Quickley not playing well, but it looks like one of his besties is over here taking some shots at Tibbs. Just want to put this on screen. So there's reports that this is actually one of Emmanuel Quickley's close friends, and he was not too thrilled about some of the things Tibbs had to say about Quickley's recent performance. So in one of the tweets, he says Tibbs taking unnecessary shots at the young players that bust their asses and do everything that is asked of them and more. It's becoming clearly more than unfair. I would agree with that. I think of all the young guys that have been getting some leeway, Quick is one of them. He's probably up there on that list. This guy also shared a tweet from Dan Favale, which was one of the inspirations for this live stream where Dan is questioning whether or not Tibbs should be fired. So he shared that tweet. And then he also shared a tweet from Rich Holtzman, one of the members of Knicks Twitter. He says, New York Knicks are extremely lucky that Obi and IQ are high character and team first guys, because the last 2 years could have gone very differently if other players were in their shoes. Now, I agree some when it comes to Obi, but with Quick, I think Tibbs is giving Quick, enough of a leash to, really show what he can do. What about you, Foxy? How you feel?
No, man. I think I take a Latrell Sprewell hitting somebody over the head by a 2x4 over a guy going to church on Sunday. So, it's basketball, man. I just want you to put the ball in the hole and do the right thing. So I'm glad you're a good kid, and I want culture. And I started the show saying I love Jalen Brunson, and Jalen Brunson's all about being a class act, and and you could see Quick talking about him, but it comes a point where nice, like you said, you're there for a reason. And you know what? Every young player works hard in this league, or they're not in the league. Doesn't have the market cornered on, working hard. You know why he's working hard? Because he has to. Because he doesn't have Maxi's first step. He had to put on weight to get stronger, and I appreciate that. But he's in a situation now. It's do it this year, or we have a great contract with him next year. But when's the time that you're like saying he's flashes but never puts it all together consistently? That if, like we said, if he doesn't end the year shooting around 42% field goal percentage, not shooting at least 36% from three, I'm not going to bring up foul shooting, then we really got to consider whether IQ is part of the foundation of this team. Because when you shoot what he's shooting, you're not a microwave scorer. You're an inefficient scorer.
So do you think this tweet from Emmanuel Quickley's friends and Obi Toppin, getting into a little bit of a dust up with Rick Brunson, do you think these might be some signs of some, fractures within the locker room, with the fact that Tibbs, maybe he might be losing some of the young guys, especially when, the team was struggling up until, these tweets were made, and we really haven't seen some of the young guys get big playing time?
Yeah, I expect it. I expect Randle to get crazy really soon, folks, in the next probably 10 games. I expect a real bad thing from Randle. And Obi, we saw him last year yell at Tibbs on the sideline. So I think his thing is like saying, you know what, trade me the hell out of here. Give me some burn on another team. So I'm not going to be the nice guy anymore. I want to play. You got a guy with a bad attitude in front of me, putting up threes and all this other stuff. So now he's like saying to himself, I can shoot the three just as good as Julius. Give me the burn, man. So you're showing favoritism toward this guy who's just bringing negative energy. Yo, you show me anybody on this team and anybody in this league that says Obi Toppin brings negative energy. I only bring positive energy, and he's right. He is right there, man. He brings wonderful energy. So I think he's just getting tired of just saying, play me or trade me, man.
And with that being said, we mentioned the article. How do you say this guy's name? Dan Favale. I said Favale. I think it might be Favale. Could also be Favale. I don't know why I want to say Favale, but we're going to go with Dan Favale. And in this article, he kind of talks about some of the reasons.
Favale, yeah.
He talks about some of the reasons that Tom Thibodeau should be traded. You can see he starts the article by saying, there is no need to mince words following the New York Knicks. No good, very bad, sorry excuse for a basketball game lost to the Atlanta Hawks on Wednesday night. It's time to fire Tom Thibodeau. So we've already discussed some of the reasons the Knicks might look to fire Tom. But if you want to look at some of the stats that the Knicks have and where they rank up along the league, you can see points. We're 13th with 114.4 points per game. Rebounds, we're second at 49.4 rebounds per game. Assists, we're tied for 15th, 24.6, which is definitely a step up from last season. I think last season we averaged, 20 assists per game?
Yep.
You look at the field goal percentage, we're shooting 46.6% from the field as a team, which is good for 17th in the league. At threes, we're averaging 33.3% from the three-point line, which is 25th in the league. And then at free throws, we're averaging 75.3% from the charity stripe, which is good enough for 21st in the league. So, Foxy, we've already discussed some of the issues with Tom Thibodeau, but do you think the front office is getting more and more information or more and more, I don't want to say receipts, but evidence as to why they should move on from a guy like Tom Thibodeau?
Yeah, and hey, we're in a different world with social media and just the medium. The more pressure that comes on, the more losses that come up. In the next 3 games, I'm hoping we go 1-2. Obviously, I hope we go 3-0, but I think the Pistons are the most realistic win there. But if, like we said, how many streams ago, that if this team is 5-11 and something like that, you got to take I think the social media, all the friends of the player, everybody else is going to be hitting Dolan. And then, it trickles down from there that, what the hell are you doing with this organization? Leon Rose doesn't share information. He gives one interview or so, and that's all scripted to Alan Hahn. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know what the injuries with Grimes. You keep trading down in drafts. You miss out on getting superstars. You miss out on Donovan. We're not going to get Shea, and he, what the hell's the future of this team? And they're rightly to ask those questions. Like we said, we opened up this year, folks, a couple of months ago, saying the season, because of the talent on this team, it's all about defense. It's all about if we're going to go anywhere this year, it's going to have to start on the defensive front. And and part of that's saying, hey, that's always been a focus for Tom. So either it's a bad roster, bad coaching, or D, all the above.
I hear you on that, Foxy. Also, I saw a pretty good comment from Craig that I'm going to put in the chat. And I guess it kind of falls in lines with what you just said as well. Is I'm asking who's more detrimental to the Knicks, Randle or Tibbs? And if I had to ask you that question, what would you say? You think it's
Randle.
more detrimental?
Because he's on the court.
I would say, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Just meaning that he's on the court, so Randle could do things that sabotage, allowing RJ and Brunson and other players do the best they can. And especially, we thought that we saw the last of him going into the paint and having the ball stripped from him. It's like, oh no, this is like 3 years. And we're seeing, that coming back and everything. So Tibbs, I think we could deal with it, his bad decisions, but on the court, why do we love Brunson? Because he's a coach on the court. Randle can destroy everything on this team. He could, and because he's on the court.
Me personally, I think it would be Tibbs who's more detrimental because Tibbs controls access to who's on the court and who's not. So if Tibbs
well said. I agree.
Randle,
I agree.
We might see,
but he's not going to pull the plug. So that's why he's shown favoritism and nepotism. So we don't think that's going to happen.
Another reason why they should move to fire Tibbs, bring in somebody that's going to hold Julius Randle accountable. It's crazy. We've been saying this for like 2 years. We need Tibbs to hold Julius Randle accountable, and he holds everybody else accountable but Julius Randle.
And then the other people saying crazy, well, you don't want to hurt his trade value. He doesn't have any trade value. So it's like
to get rid of him. We're going to be paying people in picks. Same way we had to do it with Kimba. Let's see. Knicks 100 again says, once again, we're back to pointing fingers and looking for a quick fix. Maybe he's talking about what's going on in the chat, but I don't think we're pointing fingers per se. We're just trying to analyze what some of the issues are with the Knicks, and you have to point out some problems. I mean, if you call that pointing fingers, so be it. I mean, and I guess looking for a quick fix, I guess somebody must have suggested we go look for a new trade. Normally, that's some of the chats you hear, or some of the comments you hear when people start looking to upgrade the roster.
Yeah. Hey, folks, but I want you to remember something. We said about Brunson. There was a couple plays when we played Cleveland that Brunson got the ball and he went right at Mitchell and scored. So if we had Mitchell here, we would be elated. But a backcourt of Brunson and Mitchell, they get killed in playoffs and stuff. They can't stop anybody. So I love Donovan Mitchell, but if you have Donovan Mitchell, you better have a DeJounte Murray next to him. Having a Brunson next to a Mitchell was it would have been exciting offensively. But we still would have won championships You wouldn't be on the road to a championship because defense wins championships when it comes to playoffs and stuff. Donovan, Jalen Brunson, that would be a no defense backcourt, literally.
Well, we saw that to start the season with Brunson and Fournier. That's exactly what.
But that's why I'm saying. So thank God, he would light it up and stuff. But Donovan Mitchell doesn't play defense.
Yeah, luckily for them, they got the Twin Towers to at least help. They got Mobley.
It makes all the difference in the world. Because he's not stopping anyone at the point of attack, but all of a sudden you're coming into Mobley and you're coming into Allen. It's like, yo, so that you should buy him rollies, man. Donovan Mitchell for all the stuff that they're going to be making him look good this year.
Yeah.
But he's a superb player, Donovan Mitchell. All you needed to watch and say, yeah, he's here, and guys that we talked about for trading for him are down here, man.
Yeah, not at the same level. All right.
Not at the same level.
Let's see. We've got some more ratings here for you guys to look at. These are some analytics. We've got offensive rating. The Knicks are 17th in the league with an offensive rating of 111. We're 17th in the league as well in defensive rating with 112.8. Now our net rating, we take a step even further back. We're 20th in the league with a minus 1.8. And then we've got our effective field goal percentage. We're 22nd at a 52.5. And our true shooting, 25th, 55.6. And then pace, we're 15th right in the middle at 100.62. So you can see very middling team. And then offensively, we're struggling as well. So Foxy, I know we've had some issues defensively, but what could we do to try to change things up or mix things up offensively to be a little bit more efficient and effective out there?
Got to hit shots. It's that simple. You can't shoot from three the way we're doing it. If everybody's pulling zones and you hear everybody on the hidden, that's mic'd up saying go under the screen, that tells you, what the problem is. If you can't shoot in this league and keep people honest, then they're going to play defenses that'll kill people like Brunson and like an RJ getting to the hole and stuff like that. But one stat that really bothers me, and I'm sure you, me, and the SV Nation have seen it, is that we're 29th in the league. The opposing team it's like we can't get a goddamn rebound. It's like they're getting second chances, third chances, and it's like, what's going on here? So we're 29th in the league. We can't get a damn, we're allowing them to get offensive rebounds while they're playing, and we're not getting the defensive rebound.
Yeah, another thing we got to do better with keeping control of the ball. I mean, we're turning the ball over left, right, and center. Outside of Brunson and maybe Emmanuel Quickley, everybody else has a 1-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio, which is just terrible. So I think we've got to do a better job making better decisions with the basketball, as well as, like you said, hitting open shots. We can't miss good looks and also continue to give the ball away. I think if you put those two together, it's going to be a recipe for disaster and things can get extremely ugly. I mean, we're lucky we got that win against the 76ers, because imagine what type of stream we'd be having right now if we had lost, 5 in a row? It would have been.
Yeah, exactly. And we're hacking and whacking. We're way too many fouls, giving them free points. We're not a team. We're 27th in steals. So, hey, just shout out again. Stephanie says it sounds like we're talking about last year's Randle and not this year's Randle. I get he's not likable, but his attitude is way better. And yes, he has shown some regression this year, but come on. I don't know, Steph. I think you got to get some lens cleaner. I'm saying different body language from him. It started off good, and I agree with you. The first couple of games, I'd be with you 100%. But every game he's playing now, I'm like, he's descending into the abyss. Here comes bad Randle. I could see it in his face. I see him, Randle. Come on, Steph. You don't see him. How many times I mentioned earlier in the stream that you see, he thought he got played, and you're like, the play continues, and you're like saying, I don't see Randle in the frame on my TV yet. He hasn't got back up court. So I think Randle this year is last year's Randle. He just started off nice, but you saw him in the interview, after the game, instead of saying taking accountability like Brunson, you got to watch your film. He's doing the same stuff. So I respectfully disagree, Steph.
He's not as demonstrative as he was last season, but
not yet, man.
I think the poor play is pretty similar to what we saw last season. Especially, I mean, he ended up turning things around in that 76ers game, but to start, it was just brutal. And then against the Celtics game as well, started the game with the turnover. You can't start games like that. It's definitely hard to really, build up a solid game plan when you start the game off and you're just giving the ball away. And I think too many times he's dribbling into opposing teams. You saw DeJounte Murray was able to strip him a few times against the Atlanta Hawks. And then against the 76ers, towards the end of that game, he almost dribbled the ball away a couple times and put us in bad spots. And the Celtics doing the same thing. So, I mean, like I said, his attitude might not be as bad as what we saw last season. I think to start the season, he was kind of on a redemption tour. But I think he still has some of the poor habits that we've seen during his time with the Knicks, and one of those being complaining to the refs and continuing to dribble into traffic. So if he's able to correct those two things, I mean, he's salvageable. But outside of that, we're going to still continue to have some issues with him.
Yeah, Steph, I love you, but he had 4 turnovers against Cleveland. He had 4 turnovers against the Hawks, and he had 6 turnovers against Philadelphia. If that ain't last year's Randle, if that ain't last year's Randle, I don't know who is.
He had 4 turnovers in the first quarter. I think it was the 76ers game. And then Derrick Rose followed it up, and he said, I'll see your 4 and raise you another. It was crazy. By halftime, they both had 8 turnovers between the two of them. I'm like, what the hell's going on? What am I watching?
And RJ had to get into that party last game with 6 turnovers.
Yes, it's nuts, man. These guys can't hold on to the rock.
Yeah, so come on.
All right, so let's close this poll. I actually never gave the final tally for the other one, but I think the other one, Cam won out. Cam won like 69 to 20. So with this one, Tibbs wins with 58% of the vote, and we've got Julius Randle with 41% of the vote. So both have, blame for the poor play at the start of the year, but I guess some say Tibbs is a little bit more at fault. All right, so what else do we have on cue for today's live stream? This is going a lot longer than I had expected. Time flies when you're having fun. It's almost 3 hours, Foxy. My bad, I'm holding you up.
I know, man. Thank God I've been training my bladder.
I apologize. I won't keep you too much longer.
It sucks getting old, folks.
All right, so I just wanted to run through the week ahead. Just wanted to talk about some of the teams we'll be playing moving forward. We've got matchups against the Minnesota Timberwolves tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So, Foxy, what are you expecting in this game tomorrow against the Timberwolves, and what are the Knicks going to have to do in order to get the victory?
Again, it's simple. Just shoot those threes and play good defense. And that's simple. Just play a solid D and got to shoot over 36% from 3 and got to keep them from shooting. They have to keep them from shooting 36 or under for them. But Edwards gets up for games against RJ, so we'll see. But Gobert's not. I don't think he's going to play. Actually, I think he's in the COVID.
Oh, he's in COVID protocol.
I think he just went into COVID protocol. So we'll see what's going on. So
that's the fact that Gobert won't be available. Fingers crossed. Not that I want him to have COVID, but I just don't want him to play in that game. So hopefully it's a false positive and it'll be out of COVID protocol after that we face them.
Yeah, McDaniels also is long. Always seems to on switches and stuff give Randle problems. So we'll see. We'll definitely see here.
Yeah, now with the addition of Cam, I would hope Cam starts tomorrow. So with the addition of Cam to the starting lineup, we have somebody that can maybe make life a little bit difficult for Anthony Edwards throughout the game. So that's one thing I'm going to look at to see if Cam can be an answer as a perimeter stopper for this team, then that opens things up for his future here with the Knicks, because we know, I think, Foxley, I got to give you credit for it. You were one of the first people I've heard mention it. Remember, we were doing a live stream, and I think somebody had asked in a super chat, what is Cam going to have to do in order to win some minutes and get more play time? And you said it. He's going to have to play defense, and we're seeing that being one of the reasons he's getting extended minutes. I mean, he played, 37 minutes in the game yesterday against the Celtics. So this is going to be a big matchup to see how he'll be able to match up against a guy like Anthony Edwards. And if he's able to do a solid job, Cam might be winning the job as being one of the defensive stoppers on this team. Something that's a role that we thought Grimes would fill, but Cam, I think, has better physical tools to really hold that mantle.
Yeah, you saw, against Ja. Ja does it against everyone, but RJ against Ja blew past him. Jaden Ivey blew past him. Anthony Edwards last year just blew past him. So having Cam on Edwards is a really smart move.
Mm-hmm. And also, it's been mentioned, Mitch won't be playing. Thank you for that, Lex. So, it looks like Mitch and Gobert won't be available in this game. So you could swap Ihart in at the starter for the Knicks. And then, actually, let me put that on screen for everybody to see.
We get these slides during the week and stuff, so when the stuff happens, sometimes when you're producing a show, it's hard to keep up.
If only
There's only so much work you can do.
Yeah, if you guys saw what we were doing 2 hours before the stream, trying to make sure everything worked. Took us forever to get that static noise out, but we got it clear. Hopefully, audio's fine. But I guess we didn't have time to update the players in the slide. So you can look at Ihart. He'll probably be elevated to the starting lineup. And who think they'll elevate for the Timberwolves? Nazir Reed?
Yeah. Either that or they'll kick Towns over.
Yeah. Oh, we do have it listed. Gobert out, Robinson out. So we lit. We cool. All right. So with the second unit, you look at the second unit, and I think this is another situation where the Knicks should have a solid advantage. Ihart, you're going to take him out and you probably put in Sims. Because, even with Gobert out, I don't really think the Timberwolves are a great team that we should try to go small ball with. So I don't think we'll see too much of Obi and Randle out there on the court together. But who knows? Tibbs might surprise me. So I think we'll see more of Sims with that second unit, or we'll just see extended run for Ihart. Because we know Tibbs isn't scared to play Ihart big minutes. What did he play, 40 minutes in that overtime game against the Grizzlies?
That was nuts, yeah.
Yeah. So with the second unit, what are you looking or expecting from the second unit with IQ, Obi, and Evan, I would assume, now with that second unit for a longer period?
Yeah, I think they'll do well. And it's funny, when I think of Sims, I think of him as small ball because he's only 6'9". So, so I wouldn't mind us seeing him there. Obviously, he has incredible hops, and he needs more time in there to just learn the game. But it's going to be critical because if with Towns and Edwards there and D Russell and stuff, they're talented. Although they put a line in the sand, they're not extending Russell. So I don't know. Even though he's good friends with Towns, I don't think he's going to be there long term. So, but we need the second team to do what they do.
Yeah, and Russell, it was Gerson Rosas who traded for him, right, during his tenure.
Yep, exactly.
So it's a new management there, so they probably don't necessarily see Russell as the best pairing with Cat, even though they're besties or whatever they want to call it. All right, let's see what else we have going on in chat. Miguel P says Grimes is going to eat pine if Cam balls out. Fournier makes too much money to sit at the end of the bench. Well, we did see them do a nice. Tibbs went with an 11-man rotation in that game Grimes played. I think the way it ended up shaking out was Cam played like 15 minutes. I think Fournier played 14. And then I think Grimes played somewhere in those teams as well. So it can happen. Tibbs likes to make it seem like it's impossible to expand your rotation from 9, 10 players to 11 or 12. But it could work out where we see Evan Fournier get put into the mix, where we still see Grimes get some minutes. Because remember, Grimes is dealing with that foot injury. They're going to want to ease him in slowly, you would assume, even though they kind of fed him to the Wolves, just throwing him as the starter against the 76ers. So hopefully they'll be able to still find a way to mix Evan Fournier, and especially when it seems like we need some clutch shooting, because that's one thing Evan Fournier does provide. You do have to give him credit about that.
Hey, he came here because he's known as a great 3-point shooter. It's just we just didn't realize how bad he was on defense.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's why the Celtics were so quick to try and bring him back.
The stats don't lie, man.
Mm-hmm. Facts. But all right, thank you everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Foxy, I don't want to hold you up too much longer. I mean, this is your birthday week, and I kind of feel bad having you on here forever.
No, with my family. I feel badly because, we're doing an assessment. We know it's only 9 games in. We have a long way to go and stuff. Sorry.
No problem.
We just try to keep it real. And, I think it's a defense mechanism because we see a tsunami coming our way and we want to put our bathing suits on. Otherwise, we're going to get it may not be pretty, folks. And
you see a tsunami and put a bathing suit on, I'm running for cover. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yo, if you see a tsunami coming, there ain't nothing you can run. You might as well just dive in and see where it go.
I hear you. Also, salute to the chat. You guys were phenomenal today. We appreciate all the support. We went all the way up to 200, I think was the high. We got 142 likes. Thank you. We really appreciate it. If you guys can, see if you can get us to 150 before we log off. But regardless, we definitely appreciate all your support. Adele, salute. Thank you for the super chat. Foxy, you want to read this one? This one's for you.
Happy birthday, Brother Fox. Thank you, Adele. I hope all is well with you and families. Give a little Avery a hug from me. But everyone, thank you. We appreciate your generosity, Adele. But everyone, thank you so much for your birthday wishes. Like I said, it's so hard doing podcasts. You don't want to be a negative Nelly, man. But, would you rather us just say the Knicks are great? We're going to win 90 games this year and everything's great and RJ's great and everyone's great. Hey, I'm a Bronx boy. I don't do that shit. Hey, by the way, Stephanie, I love you. Thank you. Happy birthday too. And that's the beauty of that. It's all respect. We don't have to always agree, but the respect is always first and foremost. And like I said, if you haven't subscribed to Dope Soul Sports Talk, and I'm telling you, it's made my Monday, my mornings. I'm an early riser, so thank you so much, Stephanie. I love your show. A nudie 25, yo!
Salute.
Bronx is in the building, yo!
Thanks. Thank you, Anudi, for tuning in. We appreciate the support. Definitely had a great stream. I had fun. I know it's not the best time, I guess, to be talking Knicks. We are dealing with some struggles, but hopefully we're able to turn it around. What do we have, 3 or 4 games before our next live stream? We've got games against the Pistons, the Timberwolves. We just talked about the Nets, and I feel like there's a game the day we stream. Was it the Thunder? We faced the Thunder, I think, that Sunday, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure. So
we do have a game at like 12 or 1 o'clock that day. So we'll definitely let you guys know what we'll be doing. We'll probably still be live streaming at our typical 6:15. And if there's any changes, we'll let you know. But thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate all your support. Foxy, anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
Cormega, I love you, Bricks Nation. Again, and everyone, if you say hello to us and stuff and we don't see, it's only because, like he said, there's so many people. There's so many times when I watch it, when we watch, we feel so badly that we didn't call you out and say that. So thank you. If we missed you, it's not because of anything other than these old eyes didn't see it. So DeRoss, everyone, like you said, Geraldine, John Talento, Nick Yak, all of you. Thank Dwayne Dennis, Splashing 12676, Kaiser Soze, old friend, day one. So thank you all.
Yep. I guess like Foxy said, just want to piggyback. If we don't see a chat, it's not because we're not looking. It's just sometimes there's so many things going on, whether it be behind the scenes or actually during the live stream in the chat where we're focused on something else that happened or something else that occurred. Maybe it might be bots or whatever the case may be. It might take our attention away, but we always make sure we look on the rebroadcast just to make sure we don't miss everything.
Hey, what do you do on Sunday nights now that your show's over?
I really have no purpose as of right now. I mean, what I'll probably do is I have this stream recorded, so maybe I might chop it up and re-upload some segments that people might find interesting. But other than that, on Sunday nights, I don't really have much to do. There's no job.
My wife said to me the other night, "What the hell are you doing up so late?" I'm like, I just woke up to take a pee, and then I turned on the TV, and The Sopranos are on. And next thing I know, 3 hours later, I was still watching The Sopranos. So when you see good TV, like a show that you enjoy, you just can't help, you miss it.
Yeah. Also, sometimes when we don't see things, it's because sometimes we're working on slides. I actually did this slide while we were streaming, so I'm low-key proud of myself. So I just want to give myself a round of applause real quick. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
I think you hit the wrong button.
Did I? So it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be because I didn't even hear my damn self.
You got the wah wah.
Did I? Oh, I just trolled myself. Burn.
Do I have to get on that roadcaster and label those things for you?
That's a Snapple fact because I don't even know which one's which. I'm just out here playing blind or playing music blind. But thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate the support. We won't hold you up any longer on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Once again, I'm Keith, host of Sports Vibes TV, and as always, I'm joined by my fabulous co-host, Stephen Fox. And till next time.
Love ya.